I, who only wanted to play football, became the Hollywood heartthrob. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 1, Welcome to Collection. The author is working hard to save the manuscript. If you like it, please collect it and take it home. Let's look forward to the sequel together. Chapter 2, Dating Sophie Turner. At the beginning, the spring breeze in May flows southward along the port of Southampton, along the route where the Titanic set sail, and blows towards the broad and deep English Sea. The quaint and Needling street is bustling with people. Although it is not yet summer, the street is already full of young and beautiful miniskirts. Guran stood outside the Costa coffee shop on the corner of Lingang Street, his eyes wide open like light bulbs, staring blankly at the reflective glass of the coffee shop. He was really not looking at the miniskirts fluttering in the wind, nor was he looking at the blonde man and woman who were exchanging ventriloquism in the cafe. He was just looking at himself in the reflective glass. Young, handsome, and confused. He took out his iPhone 4 to check the time. It was 11:38 AM on May 20th, 2010. Am I reborn? And I was reborn back to the high school days when I studied in the UK in 2010. Just a few minutes ago, Guran's last memory was a scene on November 17th, 2022, when he and his teammates drank all night to the point of losing memory after witnessing the game in which two of his usual football friends joined the county level team in his hometown and eliminated the Guon team unexpectedly. When he woke up, he was standing outside the door of this cafe called Costa in Southampton! Everything happened so suddenly that he didn't even have time to watch the Qatar World Cup. Feeling the familiar sea breeze in Southampton and looking at the face in the reflective glass, Guran tried hard to control his emotions. But he finally couldn't help but grinned wantonly. Earn money, earn money. After reading so many online novels, it's finally my turn to be reborn. The first half of my life was full of regrets and frustrations, and so many wrong choices could finally wait. Hold on. Don't set a flag yet. Anyway, at least 12 years of youth have been earned. Ding ding ding. At this moment, the ringtone of the iPhone 4 suddenly rang. Caller, Sophie Turner. Guran frowned slightly, and a memory came to his mind. Sophie Turner was Guran's classmate when he was studying in the UK, and the daughter of his landlord. Sophie was the school beauty of Southampton Private High School. Not only was she excellent in both character and study, but she also showed a good acting talent at a young age, and was the popular heroine of the school drama club. And no one knew that in another 6 months, Sophie Turner would get the role of Sansa in the classic American TV series Game of Thrones. She would become a world-class hot star with her superb acting skills. Before his rebirth, Guran naturally didn't know that Sophie would become a world star in the future. At that time, he was a typical nerd, and he only wanted to study hard and work hard to get into the University of Southampton. He didn't pay much attention to the landlord's beautiful daughter's life after she went to film. It was not until he saw A Song of Ice and Fire on the screen a few years later that he realized that he had missed the future star. After complaining about himself, Guran quickly adjusted his mood and answered the phone. Good afternoon. Before Guran finished greeting, Sophie's angry voice came from the other side. Shit. You stood outside the cafe and smiled foolishly for a full 5 minutes and then greeted me with a good afternoon. I say, boo, you don't want the whole school to laugh at me, Sophie, for finding an idiot as a boyfriend? Guran then remembered that he had indeed dated with Sophie for a month. Of course, it was a fake relationship. In order to get rid of the stalking of seniors, Sophie asked the tenant Guran to pretend to be her boyfriend and go out on dates from time to dispel the endless sweeters. In Sophie's view, these boys who haven't even grown their hair are just little brats who know nothing and are not worth wasting time on as a goddess. In return, Sophie promised Guran that she could help him with his English poetry recitation and correct his accent when she was free. And today, this cafe is the place for their first public date. Of course, in the previous life, this fake date only lasted 4 weeks before Sophie got the opportunity to audition for Game of Thrones. Then, until Guran graduated from high school, she never returned to school. The two people thus walked into two different worlds and never met again. After a long silence, Sophie on the other end of the phone said angrily, "I said so much, and you only replied to me with one interjection? Although we are just acting, you have to respect the signed contract, right? Humph, you Chinese people only know how to study and do exercises all day long, and in real life you can't even act out a date. Can I ask you to come in quickly? Don't dawdle outside." After that, she hung up the phone directly. Haha, this little girl has a bad temper. Guran smiled helplessly, put his mobile phone in his pocket, and pushed the door to enter the cafe. The lights in the cafe were dim, and the aroma of coffee beans filled the air. The melodious theme song of Titanic played a romantic melody in a loop. When Guran looked around for his girlfriend, he didn't notice a waitress with a tray coming towards him. Coincidentally, the waitress was only paying attention to whether the coffee cup on the tray was stable, and didn't notice Guran, who was parked in the aisle. Bang! The two of them bumped into each other. Guran was quick and helped the waitress hold the tray. Fortunately, the tray was held. However, the cup on the tray still fell to the ground, and the coffee spilled all over the floor. "Sorry, sir." The waiter apologized quickly. "It's okay." Guran answered subconsciously, and a system prompt sound suddenly rang in Guran's mind. Light feeling 38 points of negative emotions from Tina Simpson. Bubbles are being generated. Tina Simpson is the waitress in front of him. 38 points of negative emotions? I can't tell that this politely apologizing guy still has a lot of resentment in his heart. After all, the coffee spilled. Not only did he have to clean the floor, but he also had to make a new cup. If he wasn't careful, he would be urged by the customer and scolded by the boss. Wait. Bubbles? Could it be that I was not only reborn, but also had another Jin? Guran's heart beat violently at that moment, and then he noticed that a bubble with a grey glow had appeared under his feet. The bubble with a diameter of about 20 centimeters. Guran looked around and found that no matter whether it was the waiter who squatted down to clean up the residue on the ground, or the other customers who looked over here, there was no surprise on their faces. Am I really the only one who can see it? Guran calmly walked to the bubble and moved his foot to touch it. As soon as he touched it, the grey bubble immediately broke and turned into a ray of light, which merged into Guran's body. The host picked up the skill from the broken bubble. Hand washing +1, and the progress of picking up today is 1/10. Hand washing? Guran felt a strange message flooding into his mind, and he immediately understood the situation of this skill. He could hand brew coffee, milk tea and other mixed drinks for an hour without feeling sore hands. Guran, why do I need the skill of hand brew coffee, milk tea and other mixed drinks for an hour? I won't work in a coffee shop. And what's the big deal if my hands are sore? This can be considered a skill. It's a rip-off. Guran couldn't help but complain in his heart. Gu, come here. What are you still standing there for? In the corner of the cafe, a tall and outstanding beautiful girl leaned her head out and shouted at him. It was 16-year-old Sophie Turner. Although Sophie is only 16 years old, she is already 175 centimeters tall, with blonde hair and blue eyes, standard facial features, long legs and a thin waist. The only shortcoming of her body is probably the pair of A-cups on her chest. Because it was a date, Sophie Turner put on beautiful makeup. When she stood up, her pink A-line skirt and two long legs like ivory chopsticks were particularly eye-catching beside the coffee table. At this moment, Sophie was holding her slender arms elegantly in front of the A, and her slightly chubby face was obviously unhappy. Light Sophie Turner's 17 points of negative emotions are sensed, and the system is generating bubbles. Is this okay? Guran, who felt that he had done nothing, was stunned for a moment, and reacted instantly. With a strange expression on his face, he walked straight towards the bubble in front of Sophie Turner 5 meters away. Chapter 3, Sophie's skills for free. Sophie Turner sat back in her seat with a cold face and angrily. On the table in front of her there was a grey bubble floating that only Guran could see. The shape of this bubble was incomplete and was smaller than the one dropped by the waitress. Guran sat in front of Sophie, staring at the bubble with disgust but hunger. Isn't it too small? Guran couldn't help but shook his head with regret. How could it be so small? Oh, I see. The system just prompted that Sophie's current negative emotion value is only 17 points, so this bubble is much smaller in shape than the bubble with 38 points of negative emotion. It seems that the size of the bubble is affected by the negative emotion value. I don't know what skills are hidden in the bubble that Sophie dropped. Sophie, who is excellent in both character and learning, is a future big star. Whether it is the standard English speaking, acting skills, or other subjects that are dropped, it feels very good. Guran's heart moved, and he couldn't help but stretch out his hand with a fiery look. When his fingertips touched the bubble shattered and turned into a ray of light, which flowed into Guran's body. Like the host picked up a skill from the broken bubble, chest unbuttoning +1, and today's picking progresses to 10ths. Warm reminder, this skill can improve the host's proficiency in unbuttoning the chest, and even the most complex chest buckle structure can be easily unbuttoned. Unbuttoning the chest. Guran was stunned. Could it be me? What kind of skill is this? I'm a grown man. Why do I need the skill of unbuttoning the chest? I don't wear it. Wait, more skills are better. Who knows when I will use it? Guran's eyes condensed, his arms stiffened, and then retracted, and the whole person picked up the menu on the table, as if nothing had happened. Sophie was shocked by his actions and expression just now. Her pretty face was embarrassed and angry, and her body shrank back involuntarily with her hands covering her chest. He didn't notice the abnormality of Sophie's expression and actions. At this moment, Guran's whole mind was on the study of bubbles, because he just noticed a change in a number. Today's pickup progress to 10ths. Does it mean that I can only pick up 10 bubble skills at most every day? It seems that not all bubbles should be picked up. Like the 2 grey and bleak bubbles just now, it seems that the ones picked up are all useless garbage skills, right? Maybe some of the grey bubbles are, because the dropper itself has no good skills or high level skills. Or maybe the negative emotion value is not high enough. But the size of the bubble is most likely because the negative emotion value of the dropper is not high enough. The waitress's grey bubbles should belong to the situation of no good skills. Sophie's grey bubbles should belong to the situation of having good skills, but not enough negative emotion value. With Sophie's ability, she must have more advanced skill bubbles hidden in her. But how to increase Sophie's negative emotion value? Just when Guran was holding the menu in his hand and looking at Sophie with a fiery gaze, the latter finally couldn't stand it anymore and covered his chest with his hands and stammered, criticizing, "Boo, I asked you to play the boyfriend, not the gangster." Guran finally reacted, but it was difficult to explain, so he quickly changed the subject and said, "Ahem, I don't understand what you are saying, Sophie, let's order food." But Sophie refused to let him go. "Explain clearly in advance, if you took advantage of me just now." "No, absolutely not." Guran had to surrender and said, "It's all misunderstanding. Besides, how could I take advantage of you? Although we are lovers on the surface, I have always treated you as a brother." "Really? No advantage to take treating me as a brother?" Sophie's forehead darkened, and a storm began to gather on Sophie's pretty face. European and American girls develop early, and they start to pay attention to their figure when they are 15 or 16 years old. Sophie has proud long legs and a standard southern British beauty, but the A cup on her chest makes her very unconfident. Now that Guran said that she has no advantage to take advantage of, and is just a buddy, it would be strange if Sophie is not anxious. Light feeling 65 points of negative emotion from Sophie Turner. The system bubble is generating 65 points. Why is it so high? Guran was shocked and couldn't figure out what he said to irritate his female employer. I explained it very clearly just now. But in a flash, Guran didn't have time to think about this problem because he saw a large sky blue bubble appearing on the table in front of Sophie. The blue bubble is complete and full, with extraordinary temperament. You can tell at a glance that it must be a higher level skill bubble. Guran immediately stretched out his hand eagerly. Sophie, who was sitting opposite him, hadn't started to get mad yet. She saw Guran staring at her chest again with fiery eyes and stretching his claws towards her chest. Finally, she couldn't stand it anymore and slammed the table angrily. "You still say you're not a hooligan? It's been less than a minute and you're here again. Guran, if I ask you out again in the future, I, Sophie Turner, will wash your dirty clothes for 3 months." After saying that, Sophie walked out without looking back. She walked very fast, fearing that Guran would catch up with her and hold her to ask for forgiveness. In fact, she originally had some feelings for this handsome and simple Asian boy, otherwise she wouldn't have deliberately asked him to pretend to be her boyfriend and date her. In fact, she also had the idea of turning the fake into real, if it was suitable. But the first date turned out like this. Sophie secretly made up her mind that she was really blinded by lard. No matter how Guran coaxed her this time, she would not forgive him. Unfortunately, the culprit was sitting there happily, indifferent to the girl's departure, because after the other party left, the beautiful bubbles she dropped were still there. Now he can pick them up without hesitation. Guran quickly reached out to touch it. The blue bubble immediately exploded colorfully, turning into a ray of light, and merged into his body. Like the host picked up from the filled bubbles, Stanislavski system acting, realism +1, today's picking progress 3/10. Warm reminder, your acting is vivid, especially when playing a silly and innocent person. You show your true colors. Comfortable. Finally, I got a reliable skill for free, although this thing seems to be more suitable for women. Guran felt very happy. His speculation about the bubbles was correct, which means that, no matter who it is, as long as they have professional skills, Guran can use the method of picking up bubbles to get it for free. The conditions for the generation of bubbles are nothing more than making the other party have negative emotions towards oneself. Building your own happiness on the unhappiness of others. Just thinking about it, it feels twice as good. As for Sophie, who ran out angrily, don't rush to coax her. Just wait for her to be angry for a while, and then find her chance to apologize. At worst, you can honestly act with her in the future, and even make her a few drinks by hand. It's not impossible. The most urgent thing now is to hurry up and study the underlying logic of this system and how to apply the picked up skills. This time, Guran didn't expect to have such a surprising gain after his rebirth. He can't wait to start planning his perfect life. On the other side, Sophie rushed out of the cafe angrily, standing on the steps outside the door in a daze with a face full of grievance. She thought Guran would chase her out to apologize, but the other party seemed to ignore her at all. What's wrong with this guy today? He seems to be a different person from usual. Hey, isn't this Sophie? What a coincidence. Just when she was confused, a rough voice came from far away. Sophie looked up in astonishment, only to see a muscular boy with a shaved back hair leading several other boys, whistling towards her. Rust, Rust. A trace of panic flashed across Sophie's face, and she subconsciously wanted to turn around and run back to the cafe. But the muscular boy was one step ahead of her and stepped forward to stop her. Miss Sophie, what do you think about the invitation to be the cheerleader of our team? The cup competition is about to start. If you can be my girlfriend, you will definitely be the most dazzling one in the school in the next year. Sophie forced a smile. Rust, I'm sorry, I already have a boyfriend. Rust frowned. Who? Sophie suddenly got an idea, glanced at the guy in the cafe, who was still immersed in happiness through the window, and pointed angrily. Him? A nation? Is he worthy? The muscular man nicknamed Rust clenched his fists and rushed into the cafe with a group of people. Sophie suddenly saw that these guys were hiding butterfly knives and iron wrenches behind their backs. There was also a guy who seemed to have a meteor hammer stuffed behind his butt. Sophie's pretty face changed color instantly, and she hurriedly chased after them. Chapter 4. Real acting. Showing affection and showing off to the audience. Rusty led his brothers and rushed into the Costa Cafe with a fierce look. The originally romantic cafe suddenly fell silent. The guests all looked sideways in fear, fearing that their gazes would cause unnecessary trouble. Only Guran was still sitting with his back to him, completely unaware that his rival was approaching. Guran was still happily studying his bubble system. Guran had basically figured out the underlying logic of the system. Next, it was to make full use of the negative emotion system and get as much free stuff as possible, especially to get more professional skills. However, a small place like Southampton doesn't seem to have many talented people or celebrities. Southampton does have a very famous fellow countryman team. Just as Guran's consciousness was wandering, a big hand like an iron rake fell heavily on Guran's shoulder. Guran hissed and almost cursed a national quintessence. Guran frowned and looked back and suddenly saw Rusty with a hideous face. When Rusty saw Guran's pretty face, he was immediately furious. Who did I think he was? Turns out he was just a weakling. You are worthy of being Sophie's boyfriend? Guran still had an impression of the man nicknamed Rusty in front of him 12 years ago. Rusty's real name is Christic, and he is the main central defender of the Southampton private middle school team Bucks Steelhorns. This guy is as strong as an iron tower, 1.88 meters tall and weighs 93 kilograms. He has both muscles and fat, and is completely a high school version of Harry Maguire. The key is that this guy loves to get carried away. In the inter-school league, he once tackled the referee and chased the opponents forward to the locker room. The strong guys behind Rusty, like Rusty, are also the best bad boys in the Southampton school team. It can be said that everyone in Southampton private school, including teachers and students, is not afraid of them. Everyone who sees them wants to avoid them. In the previous life, Guran had no intersection with Xiu Shio and others, because in the previous life, Guran just finished this lunch with Sophie quietly and boringly, and then left quietly and boringly. It didn't happen that Sophie ran out of the door and was seen by Xiu Shio and others. But now, the fate after rebirth has changed. Xiu Shio, what are you doing? Sophie ran in nervously with a pretty face and pushed away Xiu Shio's hand on Guran's shoulder. Seeing Sophie's nervous look, Xiu Shio immediately became jealous. Sophie, why are you so nervous about him? TSK, this kind of Asian weak chicken. It turns out that you, a girl, need to protect it. The brothers behind Xiu Shio immediately followed the booing, and all kinds of sarcastic whistles flew around. Guran frowned slightly. He was busy thinking about how to find useful skill bubbles. He didn't want to pay attention to people like Rusty, but since he was mocking him, he couldn't tolerate him. Just as Guran was about to speak, Sophie hurriedly took Guran's arm. Boo, ignore them, let's go. When Sophie took Guran's arm, she secretly pinched Guran's arm with her fingertips, signaling Guran not to be impulsive. Guran smiled at Sophie and didn't mean to leave. Want to leave? Rusty blocked the way with his strong body like an iron tower and smiled viciously. How can we let a weak Asian like you take away the school beauty of our Southampton private high school? Unless you say that you have broken up with Sophie, otherwise, you can't think of walking out of this cafe today. As he said that, Rusty squeezed his fist hard. His fist joints cracked, and the muscles under his sweatshirt swelled exaggeratedly. The bad boys behind him also took up fighting stances, crossed their legs, raised their chins, and looked at Guran from below their noses. If it were 12 years ago, such a scene would definitely make Guran a nerd at a loss, and his legs would tremble with nervousness. But now, Guran has 12 more years of life experience, and he doesn't take such a small scene seriously at all. Guran is not panicked, but secretly happy. This is a good opportunity to get professional skill bubbles. You are Rusty, right? Guran said, I have heard that you are reckless for a long time. After seeing you today, it is true. Rusty sneered, although you are praising me, I will not let you go for it. What the hell? You actually think reckless is a compliment to you? Guran's head was full of black lines. It seems that if you want to make Rusty feel negative, you can't say it too flowery. You need to stimulate it a little. Rustio, aren't you curious about why Sophie likes me? As he said that, Guran turned around and looked at Sophie affectionately. That look was full of tenderness and affection, without any trace of acting. Sophie couldn't help but tremble. This was the first time she felt such a real love, and Rustio's face became very ugly. Guran gently held Sophie's tender hand in his arm and continued to show his affection. The answer is actually very simple. I'm handsome enough. As soon as these words came out, many spectators in the cafe actually nodded. Guran is 1.8 meters tall, with sword-like eyebrows and star-like eyes. On his handsome face, there is a calm and mature gentleman smile. Even the brothers behind Rustio couldn't help but nod secretly and acknowledge Guran's handsomeness. Rusty Bar shouted unconvincedly, what's so handsome about that? Sophie, look at my muscles. Rusty Bar rolled up his sleeves, revealing his biceps as thick as his thighs. His arm muscles creaked, as if they were about to burst. Sophie's heart was pounding when Guran held her hand and secretly pinched it. The teasing at the critical moment stimulated her blushing heartbeat. This is a real man. Glancing at Rusty Bar's muscles mixed with fat, Sophie couldn't help rolling her eyes. Then, Sophie said to Guran with a shy face, "Hate, I'm not superficial, and I'm dating you just because you're handsome." Guran smiled at Sophie lovingly. "I know, I was just about to introduce my other specialties to Rusty Bar." This mature and charming loving smile almost made Sophie Turner fall on the spot. Is this really the nerdy Guran? Why did he suddenly become so charming? Is he really in love with me? Why didn't I see it before? No, I don't want to fall in love so early. Sophie covered her flat chest with one hand, trying to control her already slow heartbeat, and the other hand was still hanging in Guran's arm. There were only a few ordinary lines of dialogue between the two, but with the eyes, macro expressions and movements of both parties, it was simply a live show of affection. The customers in the entire cafe were full of dog food. Guran secretly breathed a sigh of relief. So this is the Stanislavski system of acting. Realism. It works so well. Chapter 5 picked up a reverse magic skill. This wave of affectionate display almost drove Rusty crazy. Asian weakling. Tell me, what are your specialties? I want to compete with you. I want to let Sophie know that I'm the best. Compared with Rusty's impatience, Guran seemed very calm. Guran smiled meaningfully, stretched out his hand to lift Sophie's beautiful chin. I'm going to tell you. Sophie's whole body felt like it was electrocuted. She wanted to resist, but her body almost leaned on Guran, and her tone was extremely gentle and considerate. Yes. Now that things have come to this, I'm not afraid to tell you. Guran should have said this to Rusty, but his eyes never left Sophie's big blue and clear eyes. In fact, we have lived together for a long time, and it has been almost a month. Sophie's parents know about it. They welcome me and treat me as a family member. Am I right, Sophie? Yes. Sophie nodded without even thinking about it. This is also the fact. Of course, Guran didn't say that he really paid. Swish. Everyone's eyes were focused on the school beauty of Southampton private school. This was an explosive scandal. Sophie, the most well-behaved and self-disciplined school beauty of Southampton private school, had already realized that something was wrong. But she had already nodded, so how could she have time to explain? Exclamation mark. But if she didn't explain, wouldn't it be the same as admitting that she had done that with Guran? Sophie's face suddenly turned red with shame, and she wanted to dig out a piece of grave with her toes, to bury herself in it. Guran struck, while the iron was hot, and raised his eyebrows at the Rusty Bar with an expression of "you know, now, do you know?" Wow. The small cafe was shaken. Sophie herself also understood what Guran meant, and anxiously and angrily twisted Guran's waist. "Tsk, this is Sir." Guran didn't move, and his face still maintained a very real smile. The Rusty Bar on the opposite side thought hard for a while. "What do you mean?" Rusty Bar turned back to his brother with a confused face and asked, "What is he? Damn it. Brother, do you have to make me say those words that are not up to the broadcast standard?" Guran complained wildly in his heart. Fortunately, at this time, the brother behind Rusty Bar leaned over to Rusty Bar and whispered a few words. "What? My goddess, actually." Rusty Bar's eyes suddenly turned red, and he didn't know whether he wanted to cry or wanted to kill someone, or both. "I don't have the acting skills of liberation of nature yet." Light feeling 9 points of negative emotion value from Sophie Turner. The system bubble is generating, damn it. Liberation of nature won't come just like that. But with 9 points of negative emotion value, you shouldn't get professional skill bubbles. Speaking of which, Sophie, I'm helping you. Why are you still emotional? You pinched me. Alas, this little girl's mind is really hard to understand. Sooner or later, I have to pinch it back. Guran glanced and saw a grey and incomplete bubble generated under Sophie's feet. Before Guran could pick it up, another system prompt sounded. Light feeling 85 negative emotions from Christic. System bubble generating 85 points. Wow. Rusty is really easy to get carried away. This should be the highest negative emotion value at present. Guran was secretly happy. He saw a large sky blue bubble appearing under Rusty's feet. This is definitely a bubble with professional football skills. Light feeling 31 points of negative emotion from Willard Zachary. System bubbles are being generated. Light feeling 35 points of negative emotion from Milton Lusson. System bubbles are being generated. Light feeling 38 points of negative emotion from Buckfred. System bubbles are being generated. Light feeling 44 points of negative emotion from Payne Lyle. System bubbles are being generated. Light feeling 55 points of negative emotion from Hansenton Chester. System bubbles are being generated. Guran looked at it, and bubbles of all sizes appeared under the feet of Rusty Strip and his bad boy brothers. These bubbles, without exception, are within a 5-meter range around Guran. The other spectators in the cafe were obviously also affected by the show of affection, but no drops were shown. This shows that 5 meters around the body is the range of the system pickup. At least before the personal rating of the system is improved, it can only drop bubbles within a 5-meter range around the body. After understanding this layer of system logic, Guran felt secretly happy. Such a simple show of affection can actually get so many skills for free. I wonder how many professional football skills there are. Never mind, just pick them up first. Guran touched the broken bubble under Sophie's feet with his toes calmly, and then walked directly to the Rusty Strips, and touched the bubbles under the feet of the Rusty Strips and his brothers in one breath. The 7 bubbles turned into 7 different light threads, and gathered in Guran's body. Like the host picked up the skill from the broken bubble, putting on and taking off stockings +1, today's picking progress 4/10. Putting on and taking off stockings. This must be a skill from Sophie. Putting on and taking off stockings still requires skills. Isn't it enough to have hands? Even if I don't use my hands, I can use my mouth. 9 points of negative emotion value. It turns out that I can only pick up useless skills. Waste my picking progress. Guran secretly complained in his heart. Light warm tip. When you use the skill of putting on and taking off stockings, the process can be made smoother and smoother, but since you are not proficient enough, there is a high chance that you will tear the stockings. Guran, if that's the case, this skill can't be considered useless. It's very painful. Like the host picked up the results from the ordinary bubbles, core muscle group training degree +10 hours. Today's picking progress 5/10. Results. This is a new category of picking up. Finally, it's serious. It seems that the ordinary bubbles dropped by professionals can pick up their corresponding professional training results. The results of others' hard work for 10 hours, and I can get them for free. This is so cool. Guran was ecstatic. Deng host has picked up results from ordinary bubbles, upper limb and back muscle training +10 hours. Today's progress is 6/10. Deng host has picked up results from ordinary bubbles, juggling training +10 hours. Today's progress is 7/10. Deng host has picked up results from ordinary bubbles, long pass tactics +10 hours. Today's progress is 8/10. Deng host has picked up skills from ordinary bubbles, exam cheating +1. Today's progress is 9/10. What the hell? How come there is a weird skill mixed in? The training results of the first few ordinary bubbles for free are all very good, but what kind of a skill is this exam cheating skill? Guran couldn't help but complain in his heart. The system actually gave an explanation. Warm reminder, when you are taking a written test, you can bring your own cheat sheets to cheat. There is a certain chance that your cheating score will exceed your normal score, but the chance that you will be caught by the invigilator will also be greatly increased. It is not ruled out that you may experience nervousness, dizziness, vomiting and other discomfort symptoms during the cheating process. Damn. I have to make my own cheat sheets! ! There is only a certain chance that the cheating score will exceed the normal score? ? The chance of being caught is greatly increased. Whose reverse magic skill is this? I can't afford it. Guran wanted to give up this reverse magic skill, but this cheating technique for the exam has already penetrated into his nervous system and he can't forget it at all. Oh, forget it. Anyway, with my own grades, there is no need to cheat. There is only one last blue skill bubble left. This bubble is the professional skill bubble generated by Rusty's 85 negative emotion points. Rusty, don't cheat. Chapter 6. You, a Chinese, actually want to compete with me in juggling? Guran secretly took a deep breath and quickly touched the full blue bubble under the Rusty Strip with his toes. The bubble that only Guran could see burst brilliantly, turning into a blue light thread and merging into Guran's body. Like the host has picked up a professional football skill from the filled bubble. Reasonable collision +1. Today's pickup progress 10/10. Warm reminder, the reasonable collision skill will greatly increase your impact and recoil force, but it will also consume a lot of your physical energy and increase your chance of injury. After improving the level of the reasonable collision skill, your impact and recoil force will increase accordingly, while physical energy consumption and the chance of injury will decrease accordingly. Cool. Finally, there is a professional football skill. Moreover, this skill is very practical. In British football culture, physical collision is a very basic and common situation. This type of skill is not only one of the necessary skills for defenders to defend, but also one of the necessary skills for forwards to grab points. The moment the skill merged into the nerves, Guran felt that the muscles of his whole body were filled with unprecedented strength. Guran seemed like a different person. His bookish air faded instantly, and he became taller and tougher. He was handsome enough, and with the 10 hours of multi-sport training, he looked even more handsome. Guran patted the dazed Rusty on the shoulder. "Thank you." Rusty became angry and pounced on Guran like a mad bear. "Fuck you, Asian weakling. How dare you stand in front of me and provoke me? I'm going to kill you." "Rusty, I don't allow you to hurt Guran." Sophie was eager to stand in front of Guran. Rusty became even more annoyed and took out a brass knuckles from his trouser pocket and put them on his hands. "Sophie, get out of the way. Get out of the way." The atmosphere in the entire cafe suddenly became tense. Guran was calm in the face of danger. He blocked Sophie with one hand and held down the boiling coffee pot on the dining table with the other hand. "Want to fight? Great. We Chinese are not afraid of trouble. If you want to fight, I will accompany you to the end. But if you lose the fight, you will go to the hospital. If you win, you will go to the police station. Can you afford this price?" Rusty waved the brass knuckles on his fist and roared, "No matter what you say today, I will beat you to death." If the brothers behind him had not reacted and pulled Rusty in time, he would have rushed up without caring about the consequences. Guran reminded in a deep voice, "Next week is the Genius Cup National Student Football Tournament, right? I think you know the importance of this cup better than me. If you are hospitalized or in police station because of fighting at this time, what do you think the school will do to you?" The fierceness on Rusty's face collapsed immediately. Guran was right. This was the most critical period for the Bucks Steelhorns team to prepare for the All England High School Student Genius Cup football tournament. Starting from next Wednesday, the Bucks Steelhorns will face 3 strong opponents in the South Division, and each round of the game is very important. If they can qualify in the South Division group stage, they will be able to break the historical record and enter the top 16 in the country. And if they can create a miracle and enter the top 4 in the country, every player in the team can be directly admitted to the sports department of the University of Southampton and may also be selected by a professional club. Rusty is the main central defender of the school team. He has been repeatedly warned by the coach not to cause trouble during this period. If he really goes to the hospital or the police station because of a fight with Guran, then Rusty's life will be ruined. Sophie watched Rusty go from a ferocious state to a depressed state and immediately took a breath in disbelief. Guran, so powerful, in just a few words, he controlled the whole field and made a guy like Rusty admit his weakness. Moreover, why does it feel like Guran is handsome again? I can't be. Sophie felt that her heart was beating uncontrollably. And Guran continued calmly, "If I go to the hospital, my dear Sophie will take care of me personally. She will open her mouth when food comes, stretch out her hands when clothes come, and she will even help me go to the toilet. So I don't care about fighting at all. But what about you?" Sophie's face was flushed with shame, and she secretly reached out and pinched Guran's waist. "What do you mean she will help you go to the toilet? What should I help? I won't help." The more Sophie thought about it, the more embarrassed she became, and her face turned red to her ankles. Rusty was helpless and furious. "Asian boy, you, me, my mother are fucked." He really wanted to send Guran to the hospital. However, when he thought that Guran would enjoy Sophie's care after entering the hospital, Rusty wished he could kill himself first. Seeing that the matter was about to end, Guran said calmly, Xiaoxiao, since you have come to my house to snatch my girlfriend, as a man, I should give you some response. I tell you, Sophie, you are mine. As he said that, Guran domineeringly put his arms around Sophie's slender waist in front of everyone. Sophie was completely stunned. She instinctively wanted to struggle, but for some reason her body got closer and closer. Guran continued, Rusty, I know you must be unconvinced. How about this? Let's have a competition. Sophie is the school beauty of Southampton Private Middle School, and between the two of us, only the winner can be worthy of her. Rusty's eyes suddenly lit up. Asian boy, what do you want to compete? Guran said, you are definitely not good at studying, so pick something you are good at. Aren't you the main player of the school team? And I'm just an ordinary person from China, a football poor country, and I have never practiced football before. Sophie can testify to this, right, dear? Sophie, who was still immersed in Guran's domineering embrace, was suddenly called dear, and immediately nodded obediently. She had indeed never seen Guran play football, she had only seen Guran do exercises. Guran smiled dotingly at Sophie, then turned back to Xiaoxiao and said, but I'm willing to give you this opportunity, to use your best sport, football, to have a war between men. Xiaoxiao was overjoyed. Did I hear you right? You actually want to compete with me in football? Do you believe that you will have to go to the hospital if I bump into you? Ha ha ha. While laughing, Xiaoxiao suddenly remembered Sophie's help, and his laughter froze. Sophie stamped her feet anxiously. Guran. Are you kidding me? But Guran continued to say to Xiaoxiao, you are so strong. A one-on-one confrontation is definitely unfair. Why don't we compromise and compete in juggling? Xiaoxiao nodded quickly and said with an ecstatic look on his face, okay, this is good. Let's compete in juggling. Ha ha ha. You are bound to lose. Everyone heard it. In the juggling competition, the winner is worthy of pursuing Sophie. The loser must withdraw voluntarily. This guy said it himself. Sophie's eyes widened. What? I don't agree. Guran. Ha ha ha. Xiaoxiao shouted excitedly, let's go. Let's go out and compete in juggling now. Hey, sissy, find me a ball. Okay. The strong man nicknamed Sissy grinned and ran out of the cafe with his waist twisted. The strong man became coquettish, which was really eye-catching. Guran quickly shifted his gaze to Sophie. Don't worry, it's just juggling a ball. I've seen it before, it's easy. As soon as he said this, there was a burst of snickers at the scene. Especially Xiaoxiao, who seemed to have picked up the biggest bargain in the world, and laughed the most harshly. Chinese boy, you are really brave. I'll wait for you outside. Don't be scared. Xiaoxiao and his people walked out of the cafe in a swagger. Sophie was about to cry. Sophie grabbed Guran's arm and begged in a low voice, Guran, please stop making trouble please. I beg you. Cancel the juggling game quickly. At worst, I promise you that I will wash your dirty clothes when I get home. What the hell? This proud little girl actually has a time to beg for mercy. Guran was secretly happy and said, you have to wash the dirty clothes, but I'm serious about the competition with Rusty. You. Sophie stomped her feet in frustration. Are you trying to deliberately break our agreement? No, Guran said innocently. I just don't want him to harass you again in the future. Sophie was stunned, then said angrily, then you can't compete in juggling. He is on the school team. How can you, a nerd, beat him? Guran, what if I win? Sophie blurted out, if you can win, I will do whatever you want me to do. Guran raised his lips with a mature smile. It's a deal. Sophie was stunned, and she suddenly had a feeling in her heart that this couldn't be possible. A few minutes later. Chapter 7. I didn't perform well. Let me try again. A few minutes later, outside Costa Cafe, Guran and Xiaoxiao stood facing each other, and passers-by surrounded them in 3 layers. It is the nature of all human beings to watch the excitement, especially the excitement of a duel between rivals in love. This Chinese kid actually dared to challenge the main force of the school team. What was he thinking? Before in the cafe, this Chinese kid was very calm and steady. Why did he suddenly become so arrogant? I thought he was quite smart, but he took the initiative to challenge Rusty to a juggling match. Isn't this just handing a good situation to Rusty? He is really stupid. Ha ha ha. In my opinion, he may not be really stupid, but smart. He must be tired of playing with Sophie and wants to find an excuse to get rid of Sophie. Now that you mention it, it's really possible. Fuck you. Damn Chinese, are they just going to pull up their pants and leave? Rusty, get him. Get him. Is there anyone opening a bet? I bet this Chinese kid won't be able to juggle 30 balls in 3 times combined. I'll follow. Me too. Before the juggling match officially began, the onlookers were already overwhelmed with negative emotions. Guran secretly sighed and shook his head. Today's pickup limit has been reached, otherwise, he could have picked up a whole street of skills and achievements. What a waste. When this matter is over, after returning home, I must free up my hands to study how to improve the system rating. Seeing Guran shaking his head slightly, Rusty suddenly became arrogant and proud. Hey, Chinese boy, are you scared? If you give up, and give up Sophie now, at least you won't be embarrassed. If you really compare, you will be embarrassed. Guran smiled. Let's start. You go first. Humph. Count for me. Rusty took the football and started to dribble the ball. The bad boy brothers next to him counted loudly for Rusty. 1, 2, 3, 4. Rusty's ball sense was so-so. His body was strong but not flexible. The first time he dribbled the ball, he only dribbled 19 times. The onlookers were a little disdainful of such a result. After all, this is Britain, the birthplace of modern football. Even by the standards of a non-professional school team, this kind of juggling is not up to standard. Rusty wiped the sweat from his forehead. The last time was just a warm-up, but this time I'm going for real. 1, 2, 3, 4. As his brothers called out, Rusty began the second round of juggling. The second time, Rusty really broke through his previous record. He juggled 50 balls. The atmosphere of the onlookers was still a little awkward. 50 juggles is not high, and the movements are not at all cool and beautiful, but this competition is just a competition of quantity after all. Rusty wiped the sweat from the tip of his nose. The first 2 times were just warm-ups, and the third time is my true strength. 1, 2, 3, 4. As his brothers called out, Rusty began the third round of juggling. This time, Rusty only juggled 37 balls. Rusty wiped the sweat from his chin and said calmly, actually, there is no point in juggling more. The highest number of 50 is enough. Chinese boy, it's your turn. As he said that, Rusty threw the football to Guran. Guran took the football, and his heart was suddenly filled with infinite emotion. In his previous life, he loved football since he was a child, but he had no time to play, let alone formal training. He could only use his spare time, after returning to China, to work after his study abroad career ended, and make appointments with 3 or 5 friends, to watch and play football. Although he started late, his friends said that he was very talented, but it was a pity that it was impossible for him to start from scratch at the age of 30. Now, Guran has been reborn. A new career is in front of him. How can he not be excited? To tremble slightly, Guran took a deep breath, tried to calm down his excitement, and started to dribble the ball. At the beginning, Guran felt something was wrong. His memory of the ball in his previous life was still there, but his body in this life was a little stiff. The muscle and nerve memory of the previous life did not fully match the body of this life. After barely dribbling 8 balls, the ball was lost. Sophie on the side was full of despair. Rusty breathed a sigh of relief and laughed. Only 8. Boy, just give up. I bet you can't juggle 50 balls in your life. Guran was not affected by Rusty's trash talk at all. Instead, he took a deep breath and calmed down. His muscle memory had been completely awakened, and the results of the 10 hours of juggling training he had just picked up were also activated. Guran moved his limbs and threw the football directly into the air. This throw was at least 4 or 5 meters high. The people watching at the scene all exclaimed. Sophie's heart instantly rose to her throat. How could you juggle the ball like this? Isn't this looking for a loss? Rusty and his brothers laughed so hard that they fell backwards. For those who have never touched football, it is impossible to judge the landing point and timing of this high-tossed ball. Even if you can judge it accurately, it is impossible to get the posture and strength of the kick right. Unless it's Ronaldinho or Messi, who can. Snap. Before Rusty's sarcastic words fell, the football landed accurately on Guran's raised foot. The powerful ball was easily relieved of most of its gravity and only bounced less than 10 centimeters high on Guran's casual shoes. This kick to stop the ball was amazing. Rusty was dumbfounded. The brothers behind him were also dumbfounded. The onlookers all gasped at the same time. Was it a fluke? Was this Chinese a fluke? Or was it Chinese kung fu? Just as everyone was shocked, Guran quickly alternated his feet and continued to dribble the ball. Every time the ball fell to a lower position, Guran kicked the ball. Moreover, at the end of each dribble, he tried to apply a small, just right forward rubbing force to the ball so that the ball had a certain sense of rotation and enhanced the ball's air retention and stability. Every time he touched the ball, Guran tried to touch the ball with the instep of his foot close to his toes, and his toes were always in an upturned state, which would form a cradle in the area of the ball that touched the ball, and even if the part that touched the ball was off, he could make timely adjustments and remedies. The football bounced steadily, as if there was an invisible elastic rope tied to Guran's feet. Sophie's eyes widened with surprise that could not be concealed. Guran is so cool, isn't he? He looked like a novice the first time, but he looked like a football genius the second time. Could he really be a football genius? Exclamation mark. Wait, shouldn't I be happy for him? Sophie blushed when she thought of what she had just promised Guran. In less than half a minute, Guran's number of dribbling balls exceeded 30. Xiushio and others all opened their mouths wide, and their eyes flew up and down as Guran dribbled the ball. In less than a minute, Guran's number of dribbling balls exceeded 50. In less than 2 minutes, Guran's number of dribbling balls exceeded 100. And it's still going on. Xiushio was shocked. How is this possible? How is this possible? Guran seemed to have heard nothing and was still immersed in dribbling. This feeling of dopamine secretion is really refreshing. When the number of juggling exceeded 100, Guran changed his posture, using the inside and outside of his feet to juggle the ball. When the number of juggling exceeded 200, Guran switched to front winding, back winding, thighs, head, shoulders, and shuttlecock kicking foot style juggling. Yes, Guran is a person who likes many postures. The audience around who originally did not think highly of Guran, now all couldn't help but applaud and cheer for Guran's wonderful performance. When Guran's number of juggling reached 361, the football rubbed against the outside of Guran's casual shoes and bounced out. Except for Rusty and the others, the audience around all cheered for Guran. This time, he was really handsome. Guran frowned slightly. I didn't perform well, let me try again. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 8. It's time to do something big. Damn it. He actually tricked me. Rusty's face was filled with shame and indignation. There was nothing he could do. Who told Guran to juggle 361 balls the first time, while Rusty only juggled 50 at most? It was Rusty who personally helped Guran onto the bench. As for Guran, he was not trying to show off, he was very serious about trying it again. The dopamine secretion when playing football is really addictive. Moreover, Guran wanted to try to break through the limit. This time, the juggling was far from his highest level in the previous life. In the previous life, his highest record of juggling was 874 balls, and today's result was nearly half of the best result in the previous life. If we analyze the reasons, one is that he did not wear the right shoes, and the other is that he did not stretch well before juggling. But the most important reason is that the coordination and flexibility of this body after rebirth are still quite poor, and the physical fitness is not up to standard. Being able to juggle more than 300 balls in one breath is actually considered to be above average. However, if you don't do any fancy moves, it shouldn't be a problem to juggle the ball calmly with the instep of your foot for 500 or 600 times. Although the physical condition in this life is a bit poor, you are young. Being young means that you are full of energy. I'll do it again. I'll do it again. Guran ran to pick up the ball. No need. That's enough. Xiushio blushed and said depressedly, Chinese boy, I admit that you won. Guran was still unsatisfied. Why did you admit defeat so quickly? Otherwise, the previous one doesn't count. Let me do it again. Sophie's eyes widened, rushed over and twisted Guran hard. That's enough. Xiushio covered his face and roared. It's too insulting. It's not enough for you to insult me once. Are you going to insult me a second time? Guran quickly said, that's not what I meant. I just think playing football is quite simple. The request for another time just now was really not pretending. This sentence is. Sure enough, after these words came out, Rusty glared at Guran angrily. Chinese boy. Don't go too far. Is playing football easy? Humph, can't you just juggle the ball? Juggling is not all about football. I admit that I'm not as good as you at juggling, and I lost the game between you. I'm not qualified to compete with you for Sophie. I, Rusty, keep my word, and will never bother her again. But I must tell you today, I, Rusty, am not convinced. Chinese boy, you don't understand what real football is at all. If you have the guts, compete with me on a real football field. This competition has nothing to do with Sophie, but a pure competition between men. I will let you know what is real football. A real football competition? Guran's brows moved slightly. This is a good way. If you can beat their main central defender in front of the entire football club, then there is a high probability that you can join the school team. As long as you join the school team, you will have the opportunity to participate in the All England High School Cup, and you can compete with national level football masters. In the process of fighting, there will be many opportunities to directly pick up professional football skills. Thinking of this, Guran immediately smiled calmly. You are right, Rusty. Juggling is not all about football. I really want to know what real football is, so I accept your challenge. Today is Saturday. Next Monday, I will go back to the school football field to have a real football match with you. Rusty gave a thumbs up. You have guts. My brothers and I from the football club will wait for you at the football field. See you on Monday. After that, Rusty walked to Sophie with a gloomy face. Sophie subconsciously leaned towards Guran. Rusty sighed. Sophie, I loved you so much, but unfortunately we are not destined to be together. Can you give me the phone number of your best friend Susanna? The one with the big breasts. Sophie's mouth twitched slightly. Get lost. Okay. Rusty walked away with his brothers in disgrace. The crowd of onlookers also dispersed in laughter. Soon, only Guran and Sophie were left at the entrance of the coffee shop. Let's go. Guran was so focused on going home to study the system rating that he didn't even look back at Sophie. After all, there were no audiences, so there was no need for any realistic acting. Sophie's pretty face flushed slightly, and she pretended to be calm and asked, where are we going? Guran said, home, of course. Sophie's heart was pounding. Did he really want to do that to me? Why did I set the flag of letting him do whatever he wants at that time? Sophie stood there with a face full of tangled shame and anger, lowered her head and whispered, but my parents are at home. Guran walked more than 10 meters away with his head down, not noticing that Sophie didn't catch up, and didn't hear what Sophie said in a low voice. Guran. Sophie stomped her feet in anger. Guran turned around and asked with a confused face, what's wrong? Sophie said bitterly, you go to hell. Sophie walked in front of Guran with her long legs puffed up. Guran was confused. What's going on? Why did this little girl suddenly lose her temper again? I didn't do anything. I just said to go home. Everything is resolved. Shouldn't I go home? Looking at the way the little girl walked, the negative emotion value is probably going to reach 90 points. Alas. It's a pity that I can't pick it up today. It has to be after midnight. What a waste. It seems that I can't pick up any bubbles like a commoner who just came to the city. Fortunately, after the upper limit of picking up, the negative emotion value will not show the drop bubbles. Otherwise, it would be painful. I wonder if I can discuss with this little girl Sophie and tell her to hold back her anger and express it after midnight. If I don't talk to her now, she will probably hold it back. So, Guran followed behind Sophie without saying a word. Sophie was getting angrier and angrier as she walked in front. Just now in the cafe, he was holding her hand, gazing at her affectionately, lifting her chin, and domineeringly holding her waist. Why didn't he say a word now? Damn Guran. Stinky Guran. Are you playing hard to get with me? If I, Sophie, talk to you again, I will take your last name. Humph. The two of them walk towards home, one in front and one behind. Sophie's home is in Lingang district, only 15 minutes away from Costa Cafe. Sophie's family is considered a local middle-class family. The house is not too big, but the lawn in the courtyard is neatly trimmed and clean. As soon as Sophie entered the door, she went straight to her boudoir on the 3rd floor. "You're back." Sophie's father, who was sitting in the living room, just looked up at Sophie, then lowered his head to look at the Southerner soccer news in his hand again. "Uncle Andrew, good afternoon." Duran walked into the familiar residence in his memory, suppressed his inner excitement, and greeted Sophie's father with a smile. In the past, he was also so polite. So in Andrew Turner's eyes, Duran today is no different from the past. Andrew is nearly 40 years old, but his head is already bald, and his hairstyle is similar to Ziguancan. He is wearing a number 10 jersey of the Southampton team, and his fat body makes the jersey look like a tights. Aha, our Chinese academic tyrant is back. What do you want to eat in the evening? I'll ask your Aunt Sally to make it for you. Sally Turner is Sophie's mother. Duran said quickly, "Thank you, Uncle Andrew. I don't really want to eat anything." Andrew immediately turned around and shouted towards the kitchen, "Sally, Gu wants to eat lamb kidney pie. Just medium rare. Roast some oysters. Make a large portion of mashed potatoes with mustard and onions. And finally a bowl of lamb offal pudding." Sophie's mother's voice came from the kitchen. "Got it. I'll prepare it right away." Duran. Andrew blinked at Duran. "Boo, you are 17 years old, right? Let's have a drink together tonight. There will be a city derby between Southampton and Northampton later. Do you want to watch it together?" Without waiting for Duran to speak, Andrew lowered his voice again and said mysteriously, "I used £1,000 of private money to buy Southampton's home win." Duran's brows moved slightly. The memory of this city derby in the previous life was immediately activated. During this period, Southampton was only a League One team, while Northampton was a League Two team. Although both are teams from the city of Southampton, Southampton is obviously stronger, and after this season, Southampton will be promoted to the second tier league in the UK, the English Championship, with the second place in the English League One. Northampton has always been at the bottom of the fourth tier league, the English League Two, and has almost no decent professional players. This game is a British domestic cup game, so these two teams from different league levels met. From a technical point of view, Southampton can completely crush Northampton. But according to the memory of the previous life, Southampton will unexpectedly lose to its city rival Northampton in tonight's game. This is the information gap advantage of rebirth. Duran didn't have many impressions of the upset games in the lower leagues in his previous life, and this is one of them. So it's time to do something big. Chapter 9, Counter by Southampton vs Northampton. "Uncle Andrew, I also want to buy a football lottery ticket for fun." Duran pretended to know nothing. "Can you teach me?" This was not entirely deliberate. In fact, Duran was not very familiar with the betting software of this era. After all, in his previous life, he was always busy with questions. Andrew put down the newspaper in his hand and smiled like a betting master. "Buying football lottery tickets, in our jargon, is called betting. This is a big deal. To tell you the truth, I have been involved in this industry since I was a teenager. Others earn pocket money from working, buy food, drinks, and even pick up girls, but I spend all the money I earn from working on betting." "Damn uncle, you have been buying footballs for more than 30 years. How come you only have £1,000 of private money now?" Duran smiled secretly in his heart. Then Andrew continued, "As for betting, the key is that you have to understand football. You have to study the historical records, technical statistics, team stars, whether the team's tactics are incompatible, and whether the main players of the two teams are injured. In short, there are many factors to refer to. This is all very professional. You have never been exposed to it. I suggest that, if you really want to buy it, you might as well follow an old player like me." Andrew said proudly, "My trick to betting is to seek stability. For example, for this game between Southampton and Northampton, I studied the starting lineups and status data of the two teams 2 weeks in advance. So you are lucky. If you follow me to buy the home team to win, there will be no problem. If I bet on this £1,000, I can earn at least £181. The odds are amazing. But think about it, everyone is optimistic about Southampton's victory over Northampton, so Southampton's odds are naturally very low. If you want to make a big ticket, you have to buy the opposite. What's more, Duran already knew the result of the game between the two teams. Come, I'll help you download a regular betting app first, and then help you bind your bank account. Andrew took Duran's iPhone 4 and operated it for a while. Now, you can see all kinds of odds on your own phone. Thank you, Uncle Andrew. Duran took the phone and looked at it. Uncle Andrew, I don't know much about football, but judging from the odds, it seems that betting on Northampton to win will make more money, right? Ha ha ha. Andrew laughed out loud. Betting on Northampton to win? Goo. From what you said, it's revealed that you really don't know anything. What kind of team is Northampton? There are no forwards, no midfielders, no defenders. The goalkeeper is even a super butter hand that can throw the ball into his own goal. How can Northampton beat our Southampton? Ugh. Andrew was so excited that the few precious hairs on his head trembled. He is a diehard fan of Southampton. Just for this, there is nothing wrong with supporting his home team to win with £1,000. Duran smiled. Uncle, I think that the feeling of betting is also very important. Andrew sneered. Feeling? Your uncle relies on knowledge, experience, technology, and a safe strategy to bet, and never relies on feeling. Tell me, what do you feel about this game? Duran said, my feeling is that Northampton will win, and the final score will be 0:3. This is exactly the upset result of this game in Duran's memory of his previous life, if I remember correctly. Andrew stroked his iguancan hairstyle. Ha, boo, you really don't understand football. Duran smiled calmly. Yes, I just rely on feeling. I feel very good today, Uncle. How about you buy with me? Uncle, I'll take you flying. Andrew laughed. I'll buy from you? Don't make fun of me, boo. This is all my private money. Can I go with you? If you want to buy it yourself. Duran said regretfully. Uncle, are you really not considering it? Andrew sneered. I'm not a fool. Bring your phone here. I'll teach you how to buy, and you can do it yourself in the future. As he said, Andrew took Duran's phone and skillfully opened the betting window. Duran lowered his head to study the odds on the software. The odds of a score of 0:3 were 86 times. This is true. After all, no one is optimistic about Northampton winning, and no one is willing to bet on such an exaggerated upset result of Northampton winning Southampton by 3 goals. Young model, bless you. Duran took a deep breath, filled in £1,000 in the bet amount, and clicked confirm. This is his rent and food expenses for next month. If he can win with £1,000, he can get a bonus of £86,000. Andrew next to him was stunned. Boy, are you crazy? You actually bet £1,000 on 0:3. If I had known this, I should have collected your rent in advance. Duran smiled and said, Uncle, I really have a feeling. Andrew shrugged. Okay, whatever you want. Let you lose once, and you will know the consequences of not listening to professionals. Anyway, you still have to pay the rent next month, not a penny less. Duran smiled and said, don't worry, Uncle Andrew, I believe in my feeling. Andrew sneered. Boo, if you can win with this betting method, I will call you Big Brother. Duran laughed in his heart. Like father, like daughter. Why do you and your daughter love to set flags so much? If I win by accident, won't Sophie call me uncle? How can we play boyfriend and girlfriend happily in the future? Andrew smiled gloatingly while turning on the TV and switching to the local sports channel. The football match between Southampton and Northampton began. The overall strength of the Southampton team is more than one level stronger than that of Northampton. Southampton completely dominated Northampton, and Northampton was almost lost. 5 minutes into the game, Southampton's top scorer David Canali received a cross from his teammate and easily scored with a beautiful arch of his foot. Andrew excitedly raised his arms and shouted, aha! Long live the Saints. 1:0. Goo. What did I say? It's only been 5 minutes since the start, and your £1,000 is gone. Your final score of Southampton 0:3 Northampton is wrong. Even if Northampton can reverse it later, you have already lost. Your feeling is also wrong. You still have to learn from your uncle. Playing spinach requires stability. You can't rely on your feeling. Duran's mouth showed a barely perceptible smile. Oh, it seems to be true. But in fact, Duran was very happy. This game was exactly the same as he remembered in his previous life. Canali scored in the first half with 5 minutes to go. According to memory, the score in the first half was 1:0, but the real surprise turn of events would come in the second half. A surprise turn of events that would change the score in the first half and make all lottery fans drop their jaws. Chapter 10. The unexpected turn is coming. On TV, the match between Southampton and Northampton continued. In a city derby, both teams fought fiercely, and their actions were very outrageous. Although Northampton was obviously not as strong as Southampton, they did not hesitate to play. They used various flying tackles from behind, dragging and kicking at Southampton one after another. Southampton naturally did not suffer from this, and retaliated against Northampton with various rough actions. The two sides were full of gunpowder, and the rhythm of the game was often interrupted by fouls from both sides. At the end of the first half, both sides received 5 yellow cards, and the score was still Southampton 1:0 Northampton. Poof. Andrew happily opened the 4th can of beer, gloating and said, "Boo, I'm sorry, your money has gone down the drain, and my money, in another 45 minutes, will make £185. I told you a long time ago that you don't know anything. You should buy from a veteran like me with 30 years of experience. Alas, you young man, you just don't listen. Now it's good. A month's rent is gone, right?" Duran just smiled. So far, this game is exactly the same as he remembered. Therefore, Duran was not panicked at all, and even a little excited. After a 15-minute halftime break, the second half of the game began. In the 54th minute of the game, Southampton launched a long pass from the right side. Southampton striker Canali used his body to knock away the player defending him and grabbed the first point at the edge of the penalty area. Andrew held the beer can and shouted excitedly, "Canali, shoot, shoot." I saw that another Northampton defender came over fiercely and kicked Canali's supporting ankle. Canali immediately covered his foot and fell to the ground in pain. The Southampton players immediately surrounded him aggressively. One of the Southampton players kicked the Northampton player, who shoveled Canali in the chest and kicked him out. At this time, the whole stadium seemed to be in chaos. Not only did the players on the field fight with each other, but the players on the bench also joined the fight. The head coaches of both sides were throwing mineral water bottles at each other. Even the fans of both sides started fighting, throwing bottles and burning fireworks into the field. The whole football field seemed to be on fire. This is the style of the British low-level league. Playing football? No, in the low-level league, especially when the broadcasting technology has not yet been formed, fighting is a basic operation. Ha ha ha. Let's fight. That's right. That's what we should do. Saints. Go, go, go. Beat up those Northampton girls. Andrew took a big gulp of beer, waved his arms excitedly, and sang Southampton's team song, "Oh When the Saints Go Marching In." Duran couldn't help but laugh at the sight. Beep. Beep. The referee on the field tried to control the chaotic scene, so he kept showing cards to the Southampton players, who were chasing the Northampton players. Players from both sides were sent off one after another. The Southampton team, which had an absolute advantage in the fight, naturally had the most players sent off. The smile on Andrew's face froze immediately. Wait, what's going on? Referee, don't pull out the cards. If you pull out the cards again, Southampton will not have enough 7 people on the field. Duran pretended to understand nothing and asked curiously, "Uncle Andrew, what will happen if one side does not have 7 people?" Andrew explained, "Boo, of course you don't understand. This is very professional football knowledge. According to the rules of football, as long as one side has sent off 5 people, the game is over directly. In other words, if Southampton is sent off 5 people first, then if the goal difference in the previous game does not exceed 3, Southampton will be directly judged to lose the game 0:3. And such a result is also recognized by the bookmakers. Duran pretended to be surprised and asked, "What about the goal scored by Southampton in the first half? Doesn't it count?" Andrew covered his bald head and said in annoyance, "It doesn't count." Duran blinked. "Oh, does that mean I might be able to make money?" "No way. Uncle Andrew, didn't you say that my way of buying is definitely a waste of money? Didn't you say that we Chinese are all stupid and rich? How can I make money, Uncle Andrew?" Andrew froze. Theoretically, the buying method of Duran, a novice, is absolutely impossible. But who would have thought that this would happen suddenly in the second half of the game? Andrew felt that his 30 years of spinach skills were instantly broken by Duran, a novice. Looking at Andrew's bitter expression, Duran felt a little regretful in his heart. It's a pity that the upper limit of today's pickup has been reached, otherwise, he would definitely be able to pick up Andrew's skills. As an employee in the logistics industry, Andrew's skill should be driving, right? Just as Duran was guessing randomly, the referee sent off the 5th Southampton player on the field. The game ended immediately. The final result was Southampton 0:3 Northampton. Duran won the 86-fold odds. £1,000 became 86,000. So comfortable. Although 86,000 is not a lot of money, it is enough for Duran to live a comfortable life. Moreover, the amount of Duran's bet is not much, and it will not attract the attention of the bookmaker. In the future, if you encounter such an unpopular match that you remember, you can still play it. Duran shrugged. "Bookmaker, it turns out to be so simple. Uncle, I said, I feel so good today. I asked you to buy with me, but you didn't follow. Now, your private money is gone, right?" Andrew, who has 30 years of bookmaker experience, twitched at the corner of his mouth and finally squeezed out a word after a long time. "Brother, take me with you." "Damn, you really shouted." Duran said quickly. No, Uncle, please don't call me like that. I don't know anything. We Chinese are stupid and rich." "Uncle is wrong." "Goo, your feeling is so accurate. You can actually guess the score. Chinese people simply have the mysterious power of the East." "Goo, please guide me." After saying that, Andrew kept shaking his head and struggling. "Jesus, why didn't I buy with you? If I had bought with you at that time, my £1,000 would have become 80,000. Alas, alas." Andrew's precious hair trembled with his sigh. Duran smiled in his heart, and before leaving, he glanced at the football newspaper on the table. "Uncle, have you finished reading that newspaper? Lend it to me." Andrew waved his hand. "Boo, don't be polite to me in the future. Take whatever you like. You are also a valuable person now." "Thank you, Uncle." Duran immediately picked up the newspaper and walked back to his room. Andrew beat his chest and stamped his feet. "Alas, I just missed £80,000. No. Next time, I must ask Gu how he feels before buying with him." After Duran returned to the room, he immediately closed the door and silently waved his fists wildly towards the sky. Cool. Chapter 11. Sophie, what? £86,000 is not much, but not too little. But what really excited Duran about this cold bet was that the information gap after rebirth was indeed correct. This can also be regarded as a test. In the future, when you encounter a memorable cold match, you can still make a small bet like this and earn some pocket money. Of course, you must not be greedy. Things like spinach are like snatching meat from the dealer on the tip of a knife. The spinach company will naturally not care about small cold bets. After all, this is a small group of people in the world who are always lucky. The spinach company deserves to be cold with small amounts because they make more money on cold bets. However, if you are greedy and make a large amount of cold bets, you will be investigated by the spinach company in less than 3 times. Even if you really can't find anything, the spinach company will still play a rogue and directly declare the bet invalid. So, occasionally, a small amount of cold bets can make some pocket money. It's just right. If you want to make a lot of money, want to stand out, and want to be really happy, you still have to rely on football. There is nothing better than galloping on the green field and enjoying the excitement brought by dopamine. The most urgent thing is to start his football career as soon as possible. Duran cleared his mind and focused his consciousness. Then, a cold system prompt sound came into his mind. Light warm reminder, the host's current system rating is D level. Duran frowned slightly. D. Trash level? No way. This system rating is a comprehensive rating based on the host's various ability levels. The host's current identity is a student, and his main ability is science knowledge. Oh, Duran immediately understood. Although he has picked up a lot of football training results now, the proportion of football in the system's comprehensive rating is obviously not enough. After all, he has just been reborn and everything starts from scratch. Light warm reminder, when the host's personal rating is upgraded to C level, the upper limit of picking up will remain unchanged, but the picking up range will be increased from 5 meters to 10 meters, and when bubbles are generated, the content of the bubbles can be displayed in advance, and the mind picking function of the bubbles will be enabled. Damn. C level is not bad. Not only does the pickup range increase, but it can also show what is in the bubble in advance. Most importantly, you can use your mind to pick up bubbles from a distance. In this way, you don't have to pick up those junk skills, and it is very labor saving, and you don't have to take an awkward step forward. I have to find a way to hurry up and upgrade my personal rating. The question is, how to upgrade? Warm tips. When the host obtains and uses 10 talent points, the host's personal rating will be upgraded to C level. After C level, after obtaining and using 20 talent points, it will be upgraded to B level. After B level, after obtaining and using 50 talent points, it will be upgraded to A level. Wait. Talent points? What are those? And perfect bubbles? I haven't picked them up. Duran was stunned. Light warm tips. Talent points can be obtained directly from perfect bubbles with 100 negative emotion points, or they can be obtained through professional training results. When the personal rating is D, every 100 hours of training results can be converted into 1 talent point. Oh, got it. In other words, the 10 hours of juggling and 10 hours of lower limb training that I picked up before can all be accumulated and converted into corresponding football talent points. The accumulated training results picked up before are 40 hours long. If you want to exchange for 1 talent point, you need to pick up 60 hours of training results. This system is quite interesting. However, it is very difficult to get a perfect bubble with 100 points of negative emotions. It seems that after 12 o'clock tonight, it is really necessary to ask Sophie to come and try it. Although I don't know why Sophie is so angry today, I hope she can keep it up. After figuring out the personal rating, Duran picked up the Southern Football News borrowed from Andrew while planning how to try tonight in his mind. In the past, Duran would not waste time reading football tabloids. But now it is different. Next Monday, which is the day after tomorrow, Duran will go to the school team to compete one-on-one with Rusty. This duel must be won, and it must be won beautifully. Only by winning the rust strip in front of the coach of the school team can you have the opportunity to join the school team, and only by joining the school team can you get the professional football bubble for free more conveniently. This is a key step to start a professional football career. With Duran's current ability, dribbling is naturally no problem, but if he really wants to fight against the rust strip on the field, he is probably still a long way off. If he can pick up the professional bubble of a professional player before Monday, it will be much easier. Duran's eyes were suddenly attracted by a piece of news. This Sunday, the famous star Beckham will shoot a Pepsi commercial at the famous sand dune beach in Southampton. The sand dune beach will be temporarily closed until the filming of the commercial is completed. Beckham came to Southampton beach to shoot an advertisement. Is it the advertisement where he kicked the ball into the trash can barefoot 40 meters away? Duran's eyes lit up immediately. A bold idea emerged in the evening. Go. It's time for dinner. Sophie Turner called kindly. I'm here, Aunt Sally. Duran washed his hands and sat in his seat. Sophie sat opposite Duran, her pretty face still full of resentment. Seeing Sophie like this, Duran felt relieved. 100 negative emotion value. It all depends on tonight. Sophie, have a lamb kidney. Duran smiled and pushed his portion in front of Sophie. Sophie glared at Duran angrily. I'm full. After that, Sophie got up and went upstairs angrily. Andrew frowned and said, this child is getting more and more outrageous. Gu specially gave her such delicious lamb kidneys to eat, but she didn't appreciate it. Gu, if you don't eat it, I will eat it first. After all, this thing will not taste good when it gets cold. Gu hurriedly said, Uncle, you eat it, you eat it. Sally couldn't help complaining. Sophie, this child, always eats so little and then stops eating. How can her breasts grow? She is already 17 years old. When I was her age, I was already D. Gu buried his head in eating mustard mashed potatoes. At this time, he couldn't interrupt. Mom, Sophie yelled on the third floor. Don't think I can't hear what you are saying. Sally also yelled at the third floor. So what if you heard it? Isn't what I said the truth? Your father's breasts are bigger than yours. Sophie had collapsed. Andrew's face turned red, and he continued to chew the lamb kidney pie. Gu almost spit out his food. Aunt Sally is still the best. Double kill. Foreigner's family environment is really open. After dinner, Gu went out for a walk for an hour, and then returned to his room to wait quietly. It was just 12 o'clock midnight. Gu picked up his mobile phone and sent a text message to Sophie, who was far away on the third floor. Are you asleep? After a long time, Sophie did not respond. Gu sighed helplessly and prepared to go to bed. It seems that there is no hope tonight. The talent bubble with 100 points of negative emotion value is really not so easy to pick up. Just as Gu closed his eyes and prepared to go to sleep, he heard the phone next to his pillow ding dong. Sophie, what? Chapter 12. Get 100 points of negative emotions from Sophie Turner. What? Of course I can't reply like that. Gu looked at Sophie's message and laughed. It seems that this little girl is still angry. Although I don't know why she is angry. It's great. Gu replied immediately. Sophie, you said that if I can beat Rusty Strip, then you will do whatever I say. You won't go back on your word, will you? At this moment, Sophie, who was in her boudoir on the third floor, covered herself with a quilt, her heart pounding wildly. I knew it. He really mentioned this matter. What should I do? I did agree. I can't go back on my word, right? But, what if he makes excessive demands on me? What should I do? It's so late now. My parents are asleep. He is looking for me at this time. He must be going to make that kind of excessive demands on me. Sophie bit her lip, thought for a long time, and replied, you help me get rid of Rusty Strip's entanglement. In return, I can help you wash clothes. What a trick of pretending to be stupid. Gu smiled and quickly replied, it's not about washing clothes. It's just that it's hard to say in a text message. Otherwise you can come to my room. Be gentle. Don't wake up your parents. Seeing Guran's text message, Sophie's mouth twitched. Be gentle? Sure enough, he really wants to do that kind of thing to me. Guran, you big bastard. I always thought you were a handsome nerd, but I didn't expect that you are actually a stinky hooligan in a handsome guy's skin. You don't really think that you can be a hooligan just because you are handsome, do you? Sophie replied angrily, you want me to go to your room so late, do you think it's appropriate? Guran replied, it's appropriate. In fact, I can also go to your room, but you live on the upper floor of your parents' bedroom. I'm afraid that, if we move a little bit, it will wake up your parents. Sophie's face flushed immediately. Guran, you still know not to wake up my parents. You really want to do that kind of thing to me? You're dead. I must teach you a lesson today. I want you to know that I, Sophie, am definitely not the easy girl you think I am. Sophie tried to calm herself down and replied, wait for me. Guran replied, yes, I'll wait for you. By the way, don't wear stockings. I'm afraid I will accidentally damage them. Sophie couldn't help but tremble all over. Too much. This bastard. Sophie grabbed a baseball bat from behind the door without even changing her pajamas and went downstairs barefoot. When she came to Guran's door, Sophie suppressed her anger, hid the baseball bat behind her, and gently pushed open the door. Seeing Sophie coming so soon, Guran sat up from the bed in surprise. Sophie, you really keep your promise. Time is running out. Let's get started. Sophie clenched the baseball bat behind her, her pretty face stern. Okay. How do you want to start? Guran said, lie down. What? You are so direct. Sophie's eyes widened, ready to show her stuff. Guran said, For this kind of thing, the more direct the better. Don't worry, the floor is very clean. I have cleaned it specially. Just lie down without worry. Sophie was about to explode. Guran, you are so good, you don't even let me get on the bed. Just on the floor. Sophie secretly looked for an opportunity, ready to go around and hit Guran on the head. Guran explained the key points of the movements. After you lie down, use your arms to support the ground. Keep your shoulders, elbows, and wrists in the same straight line. Tighten your abdomen. Straighten your back. Don't sag your waist or lift your buttocks. This is the standard push-up. I guess this is your first time. If it's your first time, don't worry. Let's do 30 first. Sophie raised a baseball bat. Guran looked back and saw Sophie holding a baseball bat. Sophie asked in astonishment, "You called me to your room in the middle of the night just to ask me to do push-ups?" Guran said, "What else?" Sophie was angry and anxious. "You just asked me to do push-ups." Sophie was furious. "I'm the school belle of Southampton private school. I'm so beautiful. I can understand that you have improper thoughts about me. But you actually asked me to do push-ups in the middle of the night." Guran. "Go to hell." Sophie swung the baseball bat angrily. Guran dodged quickly and grabbed Sophie's slender wrist with his backhand while explaining seriously, "I'm helping you. Push-ups can promote blood circulation in the chest so that you can develop normally. Isn't this very reasonable?" Sophie's mouth twitched and she yelled madly, "You still tell me it's reasonable?" Guran. "I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you." Guran quickly covered Sophie's mouth. "Sophie, keep your voice down. Don't wake up your parents." Sophie's thin arms and legs. How could she break free from Guran's suppression? Sophie simply bit Guran's hand with her mouth. Guran hissed and frowned in pain. Light feeling 100 points of negative emotion value from Sophie Turner. The system bubble is generating. Damn. It actually really came true. Although his hand was bitten, Guran was ecstatic. 100 points. I can directly pick up a talent point bubble. I thought this process would be very difficult. At least I would have to wait until Sophie reluctantly finished 30 push-ups before I could achieve it. I didn't expect that after just a few words, this little girl's emotions would explode. "Sophie, if I wasn't afraid that you would misunderstand me as a hooligan, I would really want to bite you now." At this moment, a big red bubble appeared in front of Sophie. The light of the red bubble almost overflowed from the bubble. It was obviously more advanced than the blue bubble. Guran happily took a step forward, held Sophie, and touched the red bubble with his toes. The bright red bubble immediately exploded brilliantly, turning into a ray of bright light, and merged into Guran's body. Like the host picked up a talent point from the perfect bubble, and the progress of picking up today is 1/10. Warm reminder, talent points can be added to any existing skills to increase the level of the skill, and can also be added to the basic attributes of the profession to improve one's own basic level. Damn. This talent point is really a good thing. Guran was just about to study it in depth, but Sophie's slender waist could no longer support her, and she was pressed down on the bed by Guran in a mess. "Sophie, Guran." Sophie's pretty face suddenly became hot. "Guran, what are you doing? Let me go." "Oh, how about I help you first?" Guran asked kindly. Sophie said shyly, "No need. Get off me." "Turn around." Sophie sat up in a panic and buttoned her clothes with her hands behind her back. Guran turned his back and said comfortingly, "It's nothing. I really treat you as a brother. I just missed it. I was trying to grab the bed, but didn't grab it correctly. Besides, I asked you to do push-ups for your own good." Sophie buttoned up. Her hair was fluffy, her pretty face was red, and her long legs like chopsticks were tightly pressed together, with nowhere to put them. "Guran, I hate you." After saying that, Sophie picked up the baseball bat on the ground and prepared to leave. Guran said hurriedly, "Sophie, are you leaving now? Didn't you promise me that you would do whatever I asked you to do? 30 times is not too much. Do it before you leave." Sophie's mouth twitched, and she said without turning her head, "I'm tired today. Let's talk about it tomorrow." "Oh, another day. It's not impossible, as long as the promise is still kept." Guran smiled and said, "Okay, I'll wait for you at this time tomorrow night." Sophie didn't say anything and limped out of Guran's room. Guran looked at Sophie's back and took a deep breath of the remaining fragrance and limited potential. Chapter 39 here. To get Beckham for free. Lying in the bed filled with the scent of Sophie's bath bomb, Guran was tossing and turning. All he could think about now was how to add talent points. This was the first step in his career that had not yet begun. According to the system's prompts, talent points could be added to existing skills or basic attributes. This gave him a wide range of choices. Guran now had the following skills: hand fisting, breast unbuttoning, stocking wearing, cheating on exams, realistic acting, and reasonable collision. He hadn't used hand fisting, stocking wearing, and cheating on exams, but to be honest, breast unbuttoning was really fast and accurate. He of course, Guran wasn't going to be a professional gangster, so he definitely couldn't put his precious talent points into a skill like breast unbuttoning. What was worth considering were the two professional skills of realistic acting and joint collision. Realistic acting was very practical, but Guran wasn't planning to act in a movie right now, so his current +1 level was enough to handle small scenes. The skill of reasonable collision is a very important skill on the court. In theory, it is more appropriate to add talent points to reasonable collision. However, the core of reasonable collision is not the skill of this skill, but its own strong attribute. Strength is the main attribute required for central defenders and centre forwards, especially in the British arena of all levels that focus on physical confrontation. Any position requires a high strong attribute. This is the most basic and necessary attribute. As Guran, who often played football in his previous life, has a deep understanding of this. Without a strong physical attribute, you can't even stand on the court, and it's useless to know other skills. Skills and techniques are just improved on the original basis, but first of all, a good foundation must be laid. With the foundation of strong attributes, combined with the skill of reasonable collision, you can naturally play a stronger level than ordinary players. Therefore, after combining his experience of playing football in his previous life, Guran decided to improve his strong attribute first. Guran's mind moved, and the talent points in his mind immediately merged into his body. Guran immediately felt that every muscle in his body was thicker by one dimension. Guran couldn't help but touch his muscles and harden them. Light congratulations to the host for adding points successfully. The host's strong attribute has been increased from 58 points to 59 points. Hearing this system prompt, Guran couldn't help but be stunned. Damn, so my strong attribute is so bad in the system rating? Only 59 points. The top defenders and centers in the Premier League should have a strong attribute value of more than 90 points, right? Sure enough, my body is still too weak now. A strong value of 59, let alone compared with the top defenders and centers in the Premier League, even compared with the amateur school team, it is far behind. Apart from anything else, if Rust's strong value is based on the system's evaluation standards, I'm afraid it should be at least 65 points. In the arena, facing Rusty head on, it will definitely be a disadvantage. There are only 2 days left, so I have to hurry up to pick it up. Tomorrow night, I must pick up Sophie's talent level bubbles again. How can I make Sophie's emotion spray again? Forget it, don't think about it. Anyway, I don't know what's wrong with this little girl recently. She gets angry at every turn. Tomorrow, let's go get some free stuff from Beckham. Guran stretched his body and soon fell into a sweet dream. The next morning, the sun was shining. Guran got up in high spirits, ate 2 slices of toast and fried scallops, and hurried out. In the past, at this time, he would study in his room. But now, he has more important and more worthwhile goals. At 8:30 in the morning, Guran took a taxi to the famous attraction in Southampton, the sand dune beach. There are not only unique sand dune features here, but also swings on the beach. The sea breeze in the morning was still a little damp and cold. Looking around, all you can see is clear sea water and many rusty shipwrecks in the distance on the coastline. The rising sun is between the sky and the sea. Everything is as beautiful as an oil painting. At this time, the security staff have begun to set up cordons, and the entire beach is surrounded by an area of about 200 meters. Guran took out the golden wig he bought on the road from his backpack, put it on his head, glued on a small mustache, put on a vest with the word photographer printed on it, and then walked towards the cordon with a swagger. This is Guran's bold plan. He wants to play the role of a photographer, to get close to Beckham, and then find an opportunity to get a few more freebies. That's David Beckham. Golden right foot. Crescent moon scimitar. A stadium heartthrob. Even Beckham's ordinary bubbles must be super awesome. The security guard in charge of clearing the field saw someone coming and immediately stepped forward with a stern face. Before the security guard could speak, Durant said in a rough voice, "What's going on? Why hasn't Beckham arrived yet? Where are the other staff? Why didn't my camera come? Damn it. Did I remember the time wrong?" The realistic acting, coupled with the typical Southern English accent, made Durant's performance very natural, as if he was really a photographer who misread the time because of overwork at night. The security guard was obviously intimidated by Durant's aura. "Sorry sir, you must have remembered the time wrong. They will arrive in half an hour." Durant frowned and said, "Fuck, half an hour. Such a good light angle will be gone in half an hour. No, I have to call them to hurry up." As he said that, Durant took out his mobile phone and randomly dialed a few numbers. He walked into the cordon while making a call. "Hello, it's me. Why haven't you come yet? What? You have already left? Bullshit. I can hear the sound of room service over there. Come quickly, otherwise you will miss the best light." Although the security guard was stunned by the intimidation, he still followed Durant diligently. "Sir, according to regulations, please show your relevant certificates." Before the security guard finished speaking, Durant frowned and said, "This damn sea breeze is so cold. You, go buy me a cup of hot coffee first. Remember not to put sugar in it." Durant pulled out two £50 notes from his pocket and handed them to the security guard who wanted to refuse to buy coffee for him. Durant said generously, "The remaining money from buying coffee is your tip." The security guard's eyes lit up, and he hurriedly took the notes, and his attitude changed 180 degrees. "Okay, sir, I'll be back soon." Sure enough, at the critical moment, acting alone can't settle it, and money is still needed to settle it. Two £50 notes were a very large expense for Durant in the past, but now, it's just a drop in the bucket. Durant sat on the swing by the sea and waited for 5 minutes, and the security guard trotted over with a cup of hot black coffee. "Sir, your hot coffee doesn't have sugar." The security guard was full of flattery and had no intention of checking Durant's ID. Durant crossed his legs and took the coffee. "Thank you, you can go and do your work. I want to sit alone for a while and quietly conceive the shooting shots." "Yes, sir." The security guard ran away happily. Durant secretly breathed a sigh of relief while enjoying the beautiful sea view. He picked up the coffee cup and took a sip. "Damn, it's so bitter." "You said don't add sugar. I'm just pretending. There's no need to give me such a pure bitter black coffee, right?" While there was no one around, Durant quietly spit the coffee back into the cup and only used the coffee cup to warm his hands. Half an hour later, 7 or 8 support vehicles were parked on the beach road. Football superstar Beckham got out of the nanny car sleepily and walked towards the sand dune beach surrounded by many staff members. "Here he comes. He's finally here." Durant took a deep breath, trying to suppress the urge to rush up to ask Beckham for an autograph. "I'm not here to ask Beckham for an autograph today. I'm here to get something for free." Chapter 14. David Beckham. David Beckham is a football star who came out of the youth training of the Premier League giant Manchester United. To be honest, Beckham is not one of the top players in the contemporary era, but he is definitely the most handsome player among football players. Kaka is also handsome, but Kaka's sense of fashion is not as good as Beckham. Santa Cruz is also handsome, but Santa Cruz cannot be considered a first-class star. Moreover, Beckham has his own unique skills. In the first round of the 1996 Premier League, Manchester United played against Wimbledon. The young Beckham kicked from the midfield and made a super long-distance lob shot from 60 meters away, which made him famous. Beckham's pass is very accurate, especially his iconic crescent scimitar. Therefore, although Beckham's breakthrough is very poor and he can hardly pass people, his commercial value is obviously higher than other stars because of his unique skills and his amazing appearance. Beckham in 2010 was already at the end of his football career. After experiencing the glory and peak of Manchester United and Real Madrid, the 35-year-old Beckham now joins AC Milan. Due to a left ankle injury in a club match and his old age, Beckham was not selected for the 2010 World Cup squad. This made Beckham very depressed, but it also gave Beckham time to make money by shooting commercials. As one of the top football stars in the UK at this stage, Beckham's commercial value far exceeds that of the UK's first-line actors and singers, and even higher than the net worth of his wife Victoria, the Spice Girl. When Beckham yawned and walked into the beach, someone immediately placed a comfortable lounge chair behind him. As soon as Beckham lay down, the service staff behind him immediately held up a large parasol for him. Beckham lay on the lounge chair with his legs crossed, just like he was on vacation. On the other side of the beach, there were 5 tall professional players doing warm-up exercises. These players were obviously selected from the English Championship League to act in Beckham's commercial. Duran stood aside with a cup of coffee, wondering secretly, why are there other players? Isn't this the filming of the commercial 40 meters away? At this time, a man who looked like an advertising director came over with a nod and a bow, squatting in front of the recliner, to explain the scene to Beckham. But Beckham waved his hand to interrupt the director, and said in his signature feminine voice, "I need a cup of coffee. Without coffee, I can't get into the state at all." The director immediately stood up and yelled, "Coffee! Mr. Beckham needs coffee. Quick!" Suddenly, the dozens of people in the entire filming crew were in chaos, and the service staff hurriedly ran out to buy coffee for Beckham. Duran looked down at the coffee cup in his hand and quickly hid it behind his back. This coffee is no longer a regular coffee, and it cannot be given to superstar Beckham. Duran's action of hiding the coffee was seen by Beckham. "Wait, don't you have a ready-made one?" Beckham pointed at the coffee in Duran's hand. Duran was stunned. Before he could think of what to say, the director rushed over and snatched the coffee cup from Duran's hand. "Here you go. We all just arrived at the filming site. How dare you, a small photographer, drink the coffee before Mr. Beckham?" I'm not. Duran said hurriedly, "This coffee can't be drunk. This coffee is cold." Beckham took the coffee from the director. "Great, I have liked drinking cold coffee since I was a child. If it was hot coffee, I couldn't drink it." Shit, seeing that Beckham had brought the cup to his lips, Duran quickly said, "Wait, this coffee is very bitter." Beckham laughed again. "How do you know that I like to drink cold and bitter coffee? This kind of coffee is the favorite of pure British gentlemen." Duran was really anxious this time. No, this coffee. Before Duran could finish his words, Beckham raised the cup and gulped down the coffee all in one breath. What a nice smell. So mellow. Beckham seemed to come alive. "This is real coffee. Believe it or not, I can even taste the long-lost taste of mutton offal from this cup of coffee. This is so much stronger than Italian coffee. Photographer brother, thank you for this cup of coffee. I won't drink your coffee for nothing. I can sign an autograph for you. Oh, by the way, what did you want to say just now?" Duran shook his head. "Forget it. You've already drunk it. I'd better not say it." Beckham smiled and said, "It's okay. You can tell me. I also want to know everything about this cup of coffee. I can't wait to have 3 more cups like this." "Damn. Just say it. Maybe I can take this opportunity to have some bubbles." Duran pretended to be helpless and sighed. "Alas, what I wanted to say is, I have drunk this cup of coffee. That's it." Beckham laughed heartily. "Although I'm a star now, as a football player, I don't have so many requirements as entertainment stars. It's okay if you have drunk it." The director next to him licked it directly. "Look, Mr. Beckham is so approachable." Duran continued, "I took a sip and felt it was too bitter, so I spit it back." Beckham smiled and said, "That doesn't matter, huh?" The charming smile on Beckham's face froze immediately. The director kept licking it. "Mr. Beckham is so simple. I dare say that there is no more simple football star in the world than Mr. Beckham." Ugh. Beckham lay on the armrest of the recliner and retched continuously. The director also reacted and retched with him. Duran shrugged. "Look, I told you not to drink it, but you insisted on drinking it." Light feeling 65 negative emotions from David Beckham. System bubbles are being generated. Light feeling 41 negative emotions from James Darlaws. System bubbles are being generated. Duran's eyes lit up. Beckham's negative emotions are so high. It's normal to think about it. After all, a world-class football star drank my saliva. And this guy called James Darlows should be the director of the commercial film that licked Beckham crazily, right? I don't know what kind of director skills it will be. At this time, a fairly full blue bubble appeared next to Beckham and the director. Duran suppressed his inner excitement, and while Beckham and the director were still retching, he touched the two blue bubbles with his feet calmly. The two blue bubbles immediately exploded brilliantly, turning into two light threads, and merged into Duran's body. Like the host has picked up a skill from the filled bubble. Director communication +1. Today's pickup progress is 2/10. Warm reminder, this skill allows the host to communicate with the actors one-on-one from the director's perspective. The communication effect will be better at night. As the skill level increases, the persuasiveness to the actors will also increase accordingly. In addition to being able to be used on actresses, it can also be used on actors. Be careful when using it. Duran, is this a serious director skill? Is this skill written wrong? Is it the director's communication skill or the director's communication skill? Wait, I seem to know why this advertisement invited those 5 tall players. Damn. This is a director with a story. Forget it. It's always good to have many skills. Besides, the focus is not on the director's skills, but on the skills of football superstar Beckham. Brother Beckham, don't let your father down. Light. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 15. Can you get something for free just by lying down? Like the host has picked up a skill from the filled bubble. Charming smile +1. Today's pickup progress 3/10. What? Duran was completely stunned. What the hell is this? Where is the crescent blade I want? Where is the golden right foot I want? Where is the super long shot I want? What's the use of giving me a skill to pick up girls? Do I have to use a smile to confuse my opponent on the court? Warm tips. This skill can make the host's smile produce an uncontrollable heart-pounding reaction to girls, and the effect is doubled for Victoria Beckham. Isn't Victoria Beckham's wife? Is it okay for my wife to double my heartbeat for me? I feel like I'm not serious. This wave is really a loss. 2 bubbles. Both are so deceptive. Duran was feeling depressed. The director recovered his breath and stared at Duran with a frown. No, where are you from? I was wondering when I got the coffee just now. Why haven't I seen you before? Duran's heart skipped a beat, but he remained calm. It's time to show his realistic acting skills again. Duran said calmly. Director James Darlows, you didn't really forget, did you? We met last night. I told you that I was Edward Stark, the photographer sent by the superiors to assist in the filming. You said that I should just come to the beach directly. Edward Stark. The director looked confused and tried to search his memory. The director felt that he didn't know any Edward Stark, but the name sounded familiar, and Duran could easily say his full name. The director himself was a little confused. Duran lowered his voice and said, after you finish talking to me, go back to the RV with a handsome guy who plays football to communicate. The director immediately put his arm around Duran's shoulders. Aha. I remember, Edward. That's right. The boss always mentions you and says that your skills are very good. Well, the photographers I brought today are enough. You just stand aside and assist casually. Just what I want. Duran grinned. Okay, director. The director asked Beckham carefully again. Mr. Beckham, are you feeling better? Can we shoot? Beckham waved his hand with a pale face. The director immediately said, Mr. Beckham said it's okay. Let's applaud Mr. Beckham for his dedication. All departments, pay attention. The 5 football actors, hurry up and get in place. Beckham. Soon, the actors began to walk the scene. Duran followed the close-up photographer, pretending to assist. After walking the scene once, Duran understood the content of this advertisement. This ad doesn't have many lines. The general meaning is that Beckham is on a leisurely vacation on the beach. A few muscular guys come to challenge him to play football. Beckham takes a sip of Pepsi and then performs a fancy dribbling operation, successfully convincing these muscular guys After understanding the content of the ad, Duran couldn't help but shake his head secretly. In theory, such an ad idea is more suitable for Messi and Ronaldinho, but not for Beckham. Let Beckham show dribbling. Beckham's shortcoming is dribbling. Although it is creative to say that drinking a sip of Pepsi can make Beckham dribbling, as Beckham himself, he certainly can't shoot the smooth dribbling effect in the director's mind. Sure enough, after the actual shooting began, Beckham tried more than a dozen times, but he couldn't dribble past the 5 strong guys smoothly. The 5 strong guys the director found were all good in level, and they were all young and strong. Several times, Beckham was almost pressed on the beach by the strong guys. This scene made the director anxious. Beckham became more and more impatient, either kicking the opponent down with his feet, or kicking the ball with his feet, causing him to be unable to catch up. After half an hour of shooting, the commercial made no progress, and not a single decent shot was used. No more shooting. Beckham finally exploded, and returned to the lounge chair to rest. The 5 strong guys spread their hands and shrugged, standing on the beach at a loss. The director squatted on the beach with his head in his arms, thinking, and the commercial shooting was deadlocked. As a bystander, Duran was thinking about whether to make suggestions to the director, when suddenly a familiar system prompt sound came to his mind. Light feeling 76 points of negative emotion value from David Beckham. System bubbles are being generated. Oh? Duran was stunned. This is not the negative emotion caused by me. During the half-hour shooting process, I didn't say anything, and didn't do anything. Ziobi has negative emotions, and it should be towards the 5 strong guys. Does it mean that, as long as anyone has any negative emotions within a 5-meter range around me, I can pick it up? Duran looked up, and saw a blue bubble at Beckham's feet. Aha! This is so cool. As long as my pickup range is larger, I can get it for free in the future. Unfortunately, the daily pickup limit is 10, and I don't know how high my personal rating needs to be to break this limit. Like before Duran walked over to pick up Beckham's bubble, the system prompt sound rang one after another. Feeling 35 points of negative emotion value from Nelson Matt. The system bubble is being generated. Light feeling 38 points of negative emotion value from Maurice Jeremy. The system bubble is being generated. Light feeling 40 points of negative emotion value from Ros Emmanuel. The system bubble is being generated. Light feeling 43 points of negative emotion value from Rory Q. Alf. The system bubble is being generated. Light feeling 45 points of negative emotion value from Boylborg. The system bubble is being generated. The 5 strong young players from the English Championship team all had white ordinary bubbles around them. Good guy. It turned out that these 5 young players from the English Championship team were also secretly dissatisfied with Beckham. Duran was secretly happy while walking past these strong young players and touching the 5 bubbles one by one. 5 white bubbles, each transformed into 5 strands of light, flowed into Duran's body. Light host has picked up results from ordinary bubbles. Leg training plus 10 hours. Today's progress is 4/10. Light host has picked up results from ordinary bubbles. Aerobic long distance running training plus 10 hours. Today's progress is 5/10. Light host has picked up results from ordinary bubbles. Anaerobic acceleration running training plus 10 hours. Today's progress is 6/10. Light host has picked up results from ordinary bubbles. Dribbling training plus 10 hours. Today's progress is 7/10. Light host has picked up results from ordinary bubbles. Comprehensive strength training plus 10 hours. Today's progress is 8/10. Cool. Duran instantly felt that his physical condition had improved again. The white bubbles of these 5 championship level players are all very good. This wave is equivalent to completing 50 hours of special training at high intensity. Moreover, with the 40 hours accumulated before, if you only need to pick up 10 hours of training results, you can exchange for a precious talent point. Other professional players need to sweat and train for 100 hours to improve an attribute value, but Duran only needs to get it for free. This wave of picking up is not over yet. There is a blue bubble with a negative emotion value of 76 points under Beckham's feet. This time, I should be able to get a useful football professional skill, right? Chapter 16. Breaking Beckham's defense. Duran walked towards the depressed Beckham and stretched out his foot to touch the blue bubble secretly. The blue bubble burst immediately, turning into a ray of light, and merged into Guran's body. Like the host picked up a professional football skill from the filled bubble. Golden right foot, accurate long pass +1. Today's pickup progress 9/10. Oh. A steady smile appeared on the corner of Guran's mouth. I finally got a serious football skill. Golden right foot, accurate long pass. This is Beckham's specialty. Guran's mind instantly emerged with the wonderful scenes of Beckham's cooperation with Zidane and Ronaldo during his time at Real Madrid. Then, Guran felt that the muscle distribution of his right foot was undergoing subtle and real changes. The right ankle, which was originally a little stiff and inflexible, now seemed to be injected with lubricant. So cool. Guran couldn't wait to make a long pass now to test the accuracy. Don't worry. There is still one more pickup progress today, and you can't show your feet. I have to find a way to whore Beckham again. Guran looked at Beckham with eyes full of desire. Seeing Guran staring at him, Beckham thought that Guran was sent by the director to urge him to shoot, and immediately said angrily, "Don't bother me. What a crappy advertisement. I don't want to shoot it." Guran smiled steadily. "Mr. Beckham, you are right. The idea of this advertisement is indeed bad. I have an idea, why don't you listen to it?" Beckham said unhappily. Aren't you just a backup photographer? What good ideas can you have?" Guran said calmly, "Director James' idea is to let you show your breakthrough skills, but this actually exposes your shortcomings, and my idea is to show your advantage, the crescent moon scimitar." Beckham immediately became interested. "Oh, how to show it?" Guran pointed to the distance of the beach. "There are 3 trash cans there. You can use your unique crescent moon scimitar to kick the ball into the 3 trash cans from a distance of 40 meters. After kicking, drink a bottle of iced Pepsi. In this way, you can show your shocking footwork and enhance the brand awareness of Pepsi." This plan is exactly what Beckham will end up shooting for Pepsi. In fact, even without Guran, the director would eventually figure out such a shooting plan. However, Guran took the lead indirectly, provided this plan to Beckham, when everyone was at a loss. Beckham was slightly stunned. "Hey, this is a good idea." Guran suddenly shook his head. "Oh, no, 40 meters is too far. I don't think you can kick it in, so forget it." Beckham was immediately provoked. "I can't. Bring the ball. Today I will let you see what a real crescent moon scimitar is." Guran sighed in embarrassment. "Okay, then let's try it." Guran asked the staff to find 3 footballs, and he turned on a hidden fixed camera. Beckham was barefoot and lined up 3 footballs on the uneven beach. Then, Beckham took a small hop to help run, with his knees slightly bent, his body tilted 45 degrees toward his supporting leg, and his right foot slammed the lower right side of the football. When the ball took off, his thigh also swung forward. Crescent moon scimitar. The football drew a scimitar-like arc in the air and accurately fell into a trash can 40 meters away. The audience at the scene immediately exclaimed, "This is exactly Beckham's unique footwork." This footwork technique is difficult to imitate, not because of the high difficulty coefficient, but because once the ankle is not well controlled, it will be counter-injured, and the chance of injury is very high. Most players dare not gamble their careers to practice this technique. Moreover, even if you can kick out a scimitar arc without injuring your ankle, you still can't achieve a true crescent moon without the added accuracy of the golden right foot. To kick out a perfect crescent moon like Beckham, the control of the ankle and the accuracy of the footwork are both indispensable. Guran already possessed Beckham's golden right foot, accurate long pass +1, and his knowledge of footwork naturally improved to a higher level. Judging from the effect of Beckham's scimitar, if the system rating is followed, Beckham's own golden right foot is at least +9, and the scimitar skill is at least +9. Guran secretly sighed in his heart. This is the strength level of an international superstar. Beckham practiced so many times, sweated so much, and got hurt so many times before he finally mastered the double skill +9 footwork. And I must also work hard for free. At this time, Beckham continued to use his unique scimitar to kick the second and third balls into the trash can 40 meters away. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. The audience at the scene all applauded and cheered spontaneously. Beckham was also full of complacency. "Hey, the backup photographer. Do you still think I'm not good enough? Duran turned off the fixed camera and smiled. Old Ginger is still spicy. Mr. Beckham is already 35 years old this year, and he can still kick such a perfect crescent moon scimitar. Amazing. Beckham laughed. Haha. Who are you talking about, old? Duran spread his hands, as if I was just telling the truth. What else? England didn't recruit you to the World Cup this time. Their excuse is that you are injured, but your injury has obviously healed. But the England national team still doesn't recruit you. What else can it be, if it's not because they dislike you for being old? They don't say it out loud to save your face. Beckham was stunned. Duran's big truth was really heartbreaking. Joining the national team to play in the World Cup, this is what Beckham desires most. Now, his foot injury has obviously healed, but he has not been called up to the national team. Yes, what else can it be, if it's not because he is old? Fuck. There is no way to serve the country. Thinking of this, Beckham was completely broken. I want to join the national team. I'm not old yet. I can still play. I can still run. Even if they let me be a substitute, it's okay. I want to play in the World Cup. They actually despise me for being old. They actually despise me for being old. Seeing Beckham's mentality collapse, Duran was actually a little excited. Light feeling 91 points of negative emotion value from David Beckham. The system bubble is generating 91 points of negative emotion value. It seems that this time Beckham's heart has really been pierced. With such a high negative emotion value, he must be able to pick up top star skills, right? At this time, a blue filling bubble appeared at Beckham's feet. Duran immediately walked in front of Beckham, gently patted Beckham's shoulder with his hand to comfort him, and at the same time, touched the blue bubble with his foot. The blue bubble immediately exploded brilliantly, turning into a ray of light, and merged into Duran's body. Chapter 17. Football counter by Villa by the Sea. Like the host has picked up a professional football skill from the filled bubble. Free kick. Crescent moon blade +1. Today's pickup progress 10/10. Cool. It's the crescent moon blade. Today's pickup is perfect. The goals of accurate long pass and crescent moon blade were both achieved. Duran's mind instantly emerged with the slow motion details of Beckham kicking the crescent moon blade. Then, Duran felt that the muscles in his legs were becoming stronger and his ankle and knee joints were becoming more flexible. Today's pickup is perfect. Duran said calmly to Beckham, who was still crying. Don't be sad, Mr. Beckham, at least your commercial has been filmed. Beckham was stunned. What? Finished? Didn't you ask me to try it first? Duran smiled and said, no need to try. My shooting style is to pursue absolute naturalness. Believe me, your crescent moon scimitar in a natural state is more shocking than in any other situation. You can go and watch the playback with the director. Beckham immediately ran to the fixed camera, and the director also rushed over after hearing the news, to watch the playback together. Shocking. It's really too shocking. The director couldn't help but say, whether you believe it or not, I was thinking about this shooting method just now. It seems that the photographer recommended by the superiors is really good. Mr. Beckham, use this. No need to reshoot. One take. Beckham wiped away his tears, and said in surprise, Director. This is all thanks to that young photographer. He ignited me. Where is he? Help me find him. I must thank him very much. The entire filming crew was busy looking for him. Duran had already quietly slipped out of the beach while Beckham was watching the replay, took off his wig and mustache, changed his vest, and hid his achievements and fame. Ding, as soon as he got on the taxi, Duran saw an eye-popping text message pop up on his phone. William Hill has transferred 86,000 to you. The bonus for betting on the upset is in hand. Duran calmly opened the betting software, randomly selected a game, and bought £1,000 according to the highest upset odds. Duran knew very well that there would be no upsets in these two games, so the £1,000 would definitely be lost. But this is also where Duran's meticulous mind lies. Not only will he lose today, he will also lose tomorrow, and the day after tomorrow, and he will lose at least 10 games. And every time he bets, he buys according to the high odds of upsets, and maintains the personality of buying upsets. In this way, after losing a few times, he can buy another upset that can really win, and even if the betting company investigates, it will not think there is a problem. As for the remaining £70,000, he can enjoy it with peace of mind. Guran had just stepped out of the taxi and had not had time to put his backpack back into his room when Andrew ran over and mysteriously pulled Guran to the corner. Guran was full of confusion. "Uncle, what are you doing?" "Goo." Andrew stroked his Iguancan style hairstyle. "Tonight there is a battle between Manchester United and Liverpool. They're mortal enemies. How did you buy it?" Guran smiled steadily. "Uncle, I was just a novice last time and tried my luck." Andrew asked with a stern face. "Boo. Uncle is usually very good to you. Every weekend I ask your Aunt Sally to make you lamb kidney pie. You can't lie to Uncle. Tell the truth. Did you buy it?" Guran said helplessly. "I bought it." Andrew's eyes lit up. "How did you buy it? Hurry. Tell Uncle." Guran smiled bitterly. "Uncle, I bought it blindly. There is absolutely no way I will win. You must not buy with me." Andrew sighed. "Boo. Uncle treats you as a brother. Is this how you guard against Uncle?" Guran: "Okay, I bought 3 in 1. Manchester United won in the first half, plus Liverpool Tor's hat-trick, plus the final score of 2:5. The odds are 275 times. Andrew was so shocked that the hairs on his head stood up. "What? You really can't win with this betting method. This is totally nonsense." Guran secretly breathed a sigh of relief and smiled calmly. "I told you." Andrew stroked a few strands of Iguancan's hair and analyzed with a serious expression. "Manchester United won in the first half, but Liverpool staged a reversal at the Red Devils' home ground, Old Trafford. The Red Devils are now ranked first in the league, and Liverpool can't even get into the top 6. And the final score was 1:5. The score was so different. Liverpool could score 5 goals in the second half. Torres was very strong last season, but his condition this season is obviously not good. He's almost playing like a strong defender. Can he score a hat-trick?" Guran smiled calmly. "So I said, Uncle, I was buying blindly. A knowledgeable and steady betting expert, like you can see at a glance, that my betting method is nonsense." Andrew hissed. "But when you won the bet with 86 times odds last time, you believed in your feeling. Moreover, the situations these 2 times seem to be equally good. I believe you once. Football bets, villas by the sea." Guran was stunned. "What do you mean by seeming the same? They are not the same at all, right? Last time was last time. This time is this time, my uncle." Guran hurriedly said, "Uncle, I don't actually have any feeling this time. I was really buying blindly this time." Andrew laughed. "Boo. I have confidence in you. Chinese people. They all have the mysterious power of the East. No, Uncle, listen to me. This is what happened. Damn. I can't explain it clearly now." Guran scratched his head. "Wait, Uncle, didn't you say before that you only had £1,000 of private money? This time, you should just buy £30 or £50, right? If you just use your spare money to buy £30 or £50, then you lose. It's no big deal." Andrew raised his eyebrows mysteriously at Guran. "Boo, you are still young. When you reach my age, you will know that you cannot expose the amount of your private money. I still have £1,000. You can't tell your Aunt Sally about this." "Damn," Guran hurriedly advised. "Uncle, don't be like this. Really, I really bought blindly this time. I will definitely lose if I buy it this way. Your £1,000 will definitely be wasted." Andrew frowned and said, "Boo, Kit, why are you still teasing me about what I said wrong last time? Didn't I say last time that your way of buying cold items would definitely lose? Do you have to respond to me like this now?" Guran was speechless. "Uncle, then buy it, but don't blame me if you lose. I told you that I would definitely lose if I buy it this way." Andrew was beaming with joy. "Haha, 275 times the odds. Goo, do you know what this means? It means I can earn £270,000 this time. I've already thought about how I should celebrate. Goo. We won't have lamb kidney pie for lunch today. We'll have gorgonzola cheese with fish head cake." Upon hearing the words gorgonzola cheese, Guran's stomach subconsciously churned. "Uncle, I have something to do at noon, so I won't eat at home." "Ah. That's a pity. Let's have it in the evening, just in time to finish watching the game, and cheese with fish head cake for dinner will be more delicious." Andrew was intoxicated. Guran said quickly. Uncle, I have something to do this afternoon, so I won't be back until very late. Please don't wait for me. Andrew said regretfully. That's too bad. Do I need to leave you some food for dinner? Guran waved his hands desperately. No, thank you, uncle. But I really don't need it. Andrew smiled and said, okay, then go and get busy. Guran then returned to his room, took out the vest and other things in his bag, put them away, tidied up a little, and pushed the door open. As soon as he walked out of the room, he saw Sophie standing on the stairs with a cold and pretty face. What were you doing sneaking around in the corner with my dad just now? Chapter 18. Don't use your charming smile indiscriminately. Oh, nothing. Facing Sophie's questioning, Guran explained calmly, your father asked me what I wanted to eat at noon, and I said I had something to do at noon, and in the evening, so I won't eat at home. Sophie frowned and asked, it's just the topic of eating. Can you talk for 5 minutes? And you are so excited. Guran shrugged, so long? I don't think so. Well, I'm going out. Sophie asked in surprise, you don't want to practice questions? What are you going to do? Guran said, no, I have to prepare for the showdown with Rusty Strip tomorrow afternoon. Sophie pursed her lips. Then wait for me, I will go out with you. After all, we have an agreement. Guran smiled and said, you don't want to eat at home, do you? Sophie said without hesitation, wait for me, I'm going to change clothes and put on some simple makeup. Damn, it's almost 12 o'clock. If you change clothes and put on makeup, neither of us can escape at noon today. Guran immediately waved his hand firmly. You are too troublesome. The agreement will be suspended today and resumed tomorrow. I'm leaving first. After that, Guran rushed out. Sophie was so angry that she stomped on the stairs. Guran, how dare you despise me for being troublesome? And dare you unilaterally suspend the agreement between us? You'd better not come back. Never come back. Otherwise, you will see how I will deal with you. Guran, did you hear me? Andrew frowned and poked his head out of the room. Sophie, how can you talk to Guran? He is a tenant. Sophie roared, what do you care? Andrew immediately retracted his head. After Guran rushed out, he stretched out his hand to hail a taxi and took a car to the largest sports store in Southampton. With more than £70,000 to spend, Guran is now very comfortable. He can move out of Sophie's house so that he doesn't have to eat weird British cuisine. However, although the food at Sophie's house is not delicious, Sophie, the future big star, is simply a treasure for brushing talent points. If everything goes well, he can masturbate Sophie once every night until Sophie auditions for Game of Thrones. Therefore, even if Guran has money, he will not move out of Sophie's house for the time being. He will play against Rusty tomorrow, so he must get himself a set of football equipment first. As soon as Guran entered the door of the specialty store, a saleswoman with a figure a bit like Maximum into Broke Girls came up to him. Guran did not wait for the saleswoman to ask, and directly asked, give me a pair of Lionel Messi's exclusive F10TRXFG football shoes. This is the football shoe that Guran had been thinking about, but couldn't bear to buy in his previous life. The saleswoman glanced at the young Asian guy in front of her with disdain and questioned in a tone, Messi's exclusive is very expensive. It costs £1,999. Are you sure you can afford it? Damn, who are you looking down on? Guran smiled steadily. Remember, you can doubt anyone's inability to afford it, but you must never doubt the purchasing power of us Chinese. The sales girl, who looked like Maximum, was stunned. Although the Chinese guy in front of her looked young, he had the charm of a mature man in his every move. The sales girl immediately put on a charming smile. So you are a Chinese guest. Okay, handsome sir. Please take a rest here in the VIP area. I will get you shoes right away. Guran said in a deep voice. Wait, by the way, bring me 2 sets of football socks, 2 sets of shin guards, and 2 sets of training suits, all the most expensive ones. Okay, sir. Please wait. The sales girl hurried to prepare the goods, while Guran sat leisurely on the sofa in the VIP lounge drinking tea. After a while, the sales girl ran back to Guran with a large and small box in her arms. Sorry to have kept you waiting. The sales lady knelt down at Guran's feet. Sir, let me help you try on the shoes first. Okay. Guran stretched out his feet carelessly, enjoying the high quality service of the British sales lady. It's so cool. It's really a messy special. As soon as he put on this pair of shoes, Guran immediately felt as if he was possessed by Messi. This pair of shoes has a strong wrapping property, a good shoe shape, and the FG outsole is relatively hard, suitable for professional natural grass, with strong grip, and a faster startup speed. The sales lady knelt down on the ground, tied the shoelaces for Guran, and looked up and praised, "Sir, these shoes look so handsome on your feet. I mean, you are already very handsome, and now you are so handsome that people can only look up at you. Haha. This brown-haired sales lady's mouth is really sweet. This headlight, right?" Guran couldn't help but look down and smile. It didn't matter that she smiled. The sales lady who was looking up suddenly felt as if she had received an electric shock. The look in her eyes when she looked up at Guran was obviously different. Damn it. Guran suddenly realized that he had accidentally activated the charming smile skill. Guran quickly put away his smile, cleared his throat and said, "Let me try it out." "Of course, no problem." Before the sales lady finished speaking, Guran suddenly started to speed up and ran out of the specialty store. Guran was still very confident in his speed. In his previous life, he became a forward of the baseball team because of his speed, and his teammates all praised him for his speed. The sales lady looked at Guran's back with infatuation. "So handsome. Even when he runs, he is so handsome. Why is he gone? Come back, sir. Come back. I can't afford to pay £1,999. Someone, come. Someone is stealing shoes." The sales lady shouted and chased out of the store in a panic. The intense running almost made her two headlights fly out. As soon as the sales lady ran to the door, she bumped into Guran who was running back. With Guran's strength, how could the sales lady be a match? The sales lady's headlights were almost blown out by the collision, and she was about to fall. Guran reacted quickly and supported the sales lady. "Are you okay?" "No problem." The sales lady's face flushed, and she covered her throbbing heart with one hand. "Sir, you just scared me to death." Guran looked calm. "What? Did you think I bought it for €0? The sales lady laughed. €0 purchase? Sir, this is the first time I have heard of such an interesting word." Guran said, "Don't worry, I just wanted to try it out. Such expensive shoes, how can I really feel it if I don't run back and forth at a faster speed?" The sales lady now knew what was going on, and then smiled charmingly. "How do you feel?" "It feels big." "No, it feels very soft." "No, it should be said that it feels very good. It's messed up, and the more I think about it, the more confused I am." Guran cleared his throat and said calmly, "It feels okay, quite comfortable. This is a pair I want. Please pack them for me. You don't need to try on other socks and sportswear. Just pack them for me." "Okay, sir." The sales lady was almost going crazy. It was the first time she met such a straightforward customer. Not only was he straightforward, but he was also handsome and had a mature charm. More importantly, he was rich. The sales lady brought out the pose machine. "The total is £4,785. Please enter the password here." Guran entered the bank card password in a casual manner. Transaction successful. The sales lady returned Guran's bank card with both hands and winked at Guran. Guran took the bank card and found a small note with a phone number under the card. The sales lady raised her eyebrows and squeezed Guran. "Call me." Chapter 19. Little girl, you have to play by the rules. Damn, this sales lady is too open, isn't she? Guran felt his blood boiling and quickly turned his eyes away from the shaking headlights, stuffed the small note into the shopping bag, and turned to walk out of the store. After running out of the store, Guran immediately found a bathroom and washed his face vigorously to calm himself down. A 17-year-old body is still easily excited. This is not a mistake, it just proves that I'm a very normal young person, even a little excellent. Although my body is young, my soul is a mature person. I don't care about such little temptations. If the actress who plays Maximum comes in person, it would be another matter. Guran folded the small note with the scent of the sales lady's perfume in half and put it back into the shopping bag. After buying shoes, Duran found a nearby Chinese restaurant and ordered a few home-cooked dishes commonly eaten in China for a delicious meal. After lunch, Duran went to a nearby Chinese supermarket and bought some DIY convenience foods. After all, eating lamb kidney pie, fish head pie, English fried sausage, lamb pudding and so on every day is really unbearable. Duran didn't get on the taxi home until after dinner, carrying a lot of bags. When he got home, it was already dark. Duran walked into the living room and turned on the light and saw Andrew sitting on the sofa, burying his hairless head in his arms. Duran was shocked. "Uncle Andrew, what are you doing?" "Oh, right. This must be a loss in the bed." Andrew looked up at Duran with tears in his eyes. "Boo, you are back. Manchester United swept Liverpool 4-0. Tours missed 3 good chances in front of the goal. My £1,000. Woo woo woo. I dare not cry in the bedroom. I'm afraid your Aunt Sally will find out and your aunt will scratch me." Andrew cried very sadly. But for some reason, seeing Andrew's iguancan style hairstyle shaking while crying, Duran couldn't help but want to laugh. Unfortunately, today's picking progress is full. Duran put down the things in his hands and patted Andrew's shoulder comfortingly. "Uncle, you see, I'm just saying that my method of buying cold is definitely not going to win." Andrew said aggrievedly, "But you won the first time you bought it." Duran's face was full of magnanimity. "That was a fluke. It was the aura of a novice. You see, I bought it this time. Didn't I also lose?" Andrew asked. "Then why did you buy it when you knew you would lose?" Duran shrugged. "I bought it for fun. You know, I'm not short of money now." Andrew wanted to hit him after hearing this. Andrew sighed. "It seems that I have to buy according to my own way in the future. I originally expected Manchester United to win at least 3 games against Liverpool at the Red Devils home. I could have won my £1,000. Andrew scratched his remaining hair in annoyance. Duran said, "I wish you success next time." "Wait, uncle, do you have any private money?" Ahem. Andrew changed the subject. "Hey, boo, what did you buy?" "Oh, nothing, just things you don't like to eat." Duran is also a master at changing the subject. "It's late, uncle, I should go back to my room to sleep. You should also go to bed early." Andrew stared at the shopping bag in Duran's hand. "Oh, actually uncle is not that picky. Good night." "Good night." Duran returned to his room and piled all the bags on the table. At least for a week, Duran can solve the breakfast by himself. Lunch can be eaten at school. As for dinner, you can say that you have to train and eat outside. In this way, you can completely say goodbye to those sexy British delicacies such as lamb kidney pie and lamb offal pudding. Of course, the first prerequisite is that you can really join the school team. Today's whole day is also full of gains. Not only did I get 2-star level skills, but I also got 5 professional football training results. If I can get a talent point from Sophie tonight, then the strength attribute will pass. Although there is still a gap between me and Rusty in terms of strength attribute alone, football confrontation is not just about a single attribute. Mentality, skills, experience, etc. are all important. The strength attribute value is just the basis for confrontation. Of course, the higher this basic value, the better. So the key is to make Sophie's negative emotions reach 100 tonight. Duran quickly planned in his mind, call Sophie tonight, let her do push-ups, and then deliberately pick on her faults to make her angry. Sophie, this little girl, has been full of resentment recently. I was also angry with her in the morning. Now her negative emotions must be very high. I guess if I just tease her casually, Sophie's negative emotions will fly to the sky. Simple. Everything is under control. Duran raised the corners of his mouth confidently and took out the messy exclusive football shoes he bought today from the shopping bag, blew on them, wiped them again and again, put them on, and took them off, and put them on again 12 o'clock in the middle of the night. Duran put down his soccer shoes, picked up his phone, and sent a text message to Sophie. Sophie, you should come to my room. After waiting for a long time, Sophie did not reply to the text message. Duran could not help but frown slightly. This little girl is not asleep, right? If she really fell asleep, it would be troublesome, and I would not be able to get the talent point bubble. Should I call her to wake her up? Not good, right? She will definitely be mad. Ha 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 ha. While thinking so, Duran found Sophie's number in the address book. Just as he was about to press the dial button, the lightly closed door was pushed open with a creak. Duran was slightly stunned. Under the soft moonlight, Sophie stood at the door with a cold face. She was wearing a suspender pajamas with SpongeBob SquarePants printed on her body, and her delicate collarbone and sculpted feet were exposed. Her loose hair was full of the faint fragrance of shampoo. The silver moonlight sprinkled on her icy skin, reflecting the silver light in the room. Her light blue eyes were like water waves, rippling in the silver light, and her flaming red lips added a touch of heart-beating color to the whole beautiful scene. Duran couldn't help swallowing. "Sophie, you're here." Sophie crossed her slender arms in front of her chest and said with a cold face, "Duran, I was very angry with you, but after you left, I thought about it all day, and I realized that I shouldn't have been angry with you. We are not really boyfriend and girlfriend. It's reasonable for you to go out and play without me. What does it have to do with me, whether you dislike me or not? So, I'm not angry with you now." Duran, damn, what's going on? "Sophie, how can you not be angry? You should yell at me. You should hate me for disliking you. If you are not angry, how can your negative emotion value reach 100? If the negative emotion value is less than 100, how can I get talent points for free? Little girl, you have to play by the rules." Duran said in a deep voice. No, Sophie, you should be angry with me. You should be. What I did was indeed wrong." Sophie laughed instead. "So it seems that you already know you are wrong? Huh? Sophie, wait a minute. That's not what I meant. I'm not going to apologize to you. I said this to make you angry." Duran was about to explain, but Sophie smiled and said, "But it doesn't matter whether you are wrong or not. I'm really not angry anymore. Don't worry, if I get angry with you again, I will take your last name." Chapter 20. The future superstar is jealous. This little girl is setting a flag again. "I'm a mature man who has been reborn. How can I not trick you?" Duran raised his mouth slightly. "Are you really not angry anymore?" Sophie said confidently, "Of course." Duran spread his hands. "That's great. However, you still have to fulfill your previous promise. Come on, lie down." Sophie's pretty face was full of stubbornness. "Isn't it just 30 push-ups? Just lie down. What's the big deal?" "Duran, I just want to let you know today that Sophie, never break my promise. I will do it now. After I finish, we will owe each other nothing." Duran said calmly, "You finish first, and then we will talk." Sophie took a deep breath and lay on the floor in an elegant posture. It must be said that as a leading figure in the school drama club, Sophie's movements are really classical. Duran said, "Let's start." Sophie's whole body was tense, and her arms supported her body with all her strength. After barely doing 8, Sophie's pretty face was flushed, and her body was shaking slightly. Her pajama straps slipped off her smooth shoulders, revealing a small push-up bra. Duran quickly looked away, but he still caught a glimpse of it. No matter how small it was still there. From the fact that she changed to a push-up bra, it was clear that Sophie was trying to change secretly. But who was she trying to show it to at this late hour? Was it for me? No way. When Sophie did the 9th one, her arms could no longer support her. She fell to the ground, panting. "There are still 21 to go. I'll rest for a while before doing it again." Duran frowned. "Do you think this is an installment payment? Besides, everything you just did doesn't count." Sophie lay on the ground with her head raised, staring at Duran with a pair of light blue eyes. "What did you say? It doesn't count? Why doesn't it count?" Duran instructed like a strict teacher. "Your butt is sticking too high, and you didn't do the supporting movements well. Your body is not straightened up at all. You." A storm gathered on Sophie's flushed face. "Duran, are you a devil? I'm not a professional athlete. Do you have to be so strict?" Duran said seriously, "I'm doing this for your own good. This is a good thing, to promote blood circulation in your chest. You don't want to always get A, right? Duran." Sophie stood up and stomped her feet angrily. "My breasts are small. What's it to you? I'm not your girlfriend." Duran spread his hands. "Forget it. I knew you couldn't hold on. I can. Open your eyes wide and look at me." Sophie gritted her teeth in anger, lay on the ground again, adjusted her posture, and did it again. This one was indeed more standard than the previous one. But Guran still shook his head and continued to find fault. No, it's still not standard enough. The waist should be sunken and the shoulders should be relaxed, so this one still doesn't count. You. Sophie was about to explode with anger. Here it comes. It's coming. Guran's heart was full of expectations. However, Sophie took a long breath, suppressed her anger, and her expression returned to calm again. I can't be angry with you, otherwise, don't I really have to take your last name? You say it's not standard, then fine, I'll take a break and do it again. What the hell? This is not right. Sophie, what did you go through today? Are you really not angry today? Can you give me a way to whore? If this goes on, let alone the talent points for perfect bubbles for free, even incomplete bubbles can't be obtained for free. Guran looked at Sophie with a depressed face. Sophie sat down at Guran's desk to rest. The desk was a little messy, full of Chinese instant foods that Guran bought today. Guran was busy looking at his football shoes and had no time to clean up. Looking at the Chinese characters on the package, Sophie asked casually, "What are these?" Guran said, "They are all food." Sophie, stop looking at them and continue doing push-ups. But Sophie was not in a hurry at all. Why are you in a hurry? At worst, we can't sleep tonight. Now it was Guran's turn to be anxious. Sophie, don't be like this. Sophie's pretty face was full of pride and she picked up a piece of paper from the shopping bag. What is this? Guran said casually. Nothing, just a phone number. Sophie looked at the beautiful handwriting on it and the love heart drawn after the phone number, and her pretty face immediately turned cold. Female. Haha, which bar did you meet her in? Guran shrugged. I didn't go to the bar. This is just the phone number of a sales girl. Sophie's voice became colder and colder. Sales girl? Why did the sales girl give you her phone number? When you bought her things, did you flirt with her? Guran replied helplessly. She kept shaking her F-breasts at me, but I really didn't mean that. F-breasted. Sophie's whole pretty face was covered by a dark cloud. I'm not angry. I'm not angry. I'm a little fairy. F-breasted. If I'm angry, I'll have to take his last name. F-breasted. No dog would believe that there was no flirting between them. F-breasted. He said this on purpose for me to hear. Sophie slammed the table in anger and roared. Guran, you big pervert. Guran quickly stepped forward and covered Sophie's mouth. The sound insulation is not good. Don't shout light. Feeling 100 points of negative emotion value from Sophie Turner. The system is generating bubbles. What the hell? Guran took a breath of surprise. What's going on? This works? How come the negative emotion suddenly reached 100? Wait, Sophie, are you jealous? A big red bubble appeared under Sophie's feet. This is the second perfect bubble with 100 points of negative emotion. Moreover, it all comes from Sophie. Sophie, you little girl are really great. Sophie, you don't know how grateful I'm to you. Guran tried to control his excitement. While covering Sophie's mouth, he took another step forward and used his toes to touch the perfect red bubble. Sophie was pressed down by Guran's muscular body and immediately struggled and kicked desperately. The seat shook under the heavy weight. Guran didn't even touch the bubble for the first time. Guran quickly added a little more strength and held Sophie down. Let's take this talent point first. After taking it, I'll find a way to coax this little girl. The bright red bubble burst brilliantly under Guran's touch, turning into a bright light thread and merged into Guran's body. Like the host has picked up the talent point from the perfect bubble, and the progress of picking up today is 1/10. Ugh. So cool. Guran took a breath of satisfaction. Let me go. Sophie's face flushed, and she struggled desperately in Guran's strong arms. Suddenly, Sophie's delicate body froze. Chapter 21. The school team's great crisis. Why don't you struggle anymore? Guran was wondering, and when he looked down, he saw that the gathered breasts were loosened again. Why did I say again? The chest unbuttoning technique +1 is so powerful, it can be triggered even by passive postures. Am I gifted in this area? What the hell do I need this kind of talent for? Duran quickly got up and turned around. Ahem. It's none of my business. You broke free this time. Sophie's pretty face flushed, and she quickly buttoned up. Duran, you bullied me again. Woo woo. I hate you. Seeing Sophie crying, Duran panicked. Don't cry. Sophie, you're crying. I really don't know what to do. Sophie cried even louder. Duran quickly said, don't cry. Don't cry. What if your parents are woken up? They will think I did something to you. Sophie stopped crying, but tears were still on her pretty face. Duran breathed a sigh of relief. Isn't it? Just because of this note. I really didn't take this note seriously. I'll tear it up now. As he said that, Duran tore the note with the phone number of F-Headlight Girl into pieces in front of Sophie and threw it into the Worcester basket without any regret. Sophie turned her face away and continued to cry and get angry. Duran suddenly felt a little overwhelmed. He only wanted to take Sophie's talent points, but he didn't expect that he would make Sophie cry. Duran comforted her. How about, let's not do it 30 times today, and you can go back and rest early, okay? Sophie shrugged her shoulders and wiped her tears without saying a word. Damn. This little girl has such a heavy grudge. I don't know if the charming smile can coax her. Duran immediately showed a mature and charming smile to Sophie. Sophie, don't be angry. Sophie's delicate body trembled slightly, pursed her lips, and pretended not to see Duran's charming smile. Duran was suddenly a little depressed. The charming smile doesn't work. It shouldn't be. During the day, I smiled at the F-Headlight Girl casually, and she felt like she was electrocuted. Why did the skill fail when it came to Sophie? No, try again. Duran showed Sophie his charming smile for the second time. Sophie was calm and unmoved. Duran showed Sophie his charming smile for the third time. Sophie was still calm and unmoved. Duran thought to himself, damn, what a fake skill. It failed after using it once. Beckham, return it. Don't smile. Sophie said coldly, in the future, I will never talk to you again. After that, Sophie walked out of Duran's room angrily. Duran smiled bitterly helplessly. This is what happened. It seems that I can't catch Sophie and take advantage of her in the future. Forget it. It's too late today. I'll find a way to coax her after school tomorrow. It's strange. Why doesn't the charming smile work? Duran couldn't figure it out. Outside Duran's room, Sophie covered her frantically beating heart and murmured, why did Duran just smile at me? And I felt something wrong? Why do I feel that Duran's smile is so mature and charming? I can't even hate him when I want to. Am I poisoned? Thank goodness I have acting skills, otherwise I really don't know what crazy thing I would have done just now. No, I'm sweating all over. I need to take a shower quickly. Sophie held the wall and climbed up the stairs weakly. On the other side, Duran happily began to add points. Although the process of obtaining this talent point was slightly bumpy, no matter what, the goal of getting it for free was still achieved. This talent point is naturally added to the strength attribute. In this way, the system's assessment of strength value increased from 59 points to 60 points. 60 points of strength is not enough for professional players in the UK, but it is considered to be qualified in the non-professional high school league, and it is enough to fight against Rusty. Good. The football career starting from scratch will officially start after the school team battle. Monday morning. After breakfast, Andrew drove Duran and Sophie to the school gate and left. Duran walked into the campus in high spirits, while Sophie followed Duran with two big dark circles under her eyes and a listless face. The two did not communicate throughout the whole process. Duran wanted to talk to Sophie, but Sophie had a sour face and did not give Duran any chance. Duran had to give up. In the afternoon, Duran went to the locker room, quickly changed into a brand new brand sportswear, then carried a sports bag with Mess's special football shoes on his back, and walked towards the football field in the school with a chic step. Originally, Duran's elective course this afternoon was modern language class, French. This is a relatively easy course to pass. Although Duran has loved football since he was a child, it was his parents who funded his study abroad, so when Duran chose elective courses, he had to give up football classes with great pain. In the eyes of his parents, football is just entertainment and cannot be used as a meal. Moreover, it is easy to get injured when playing football, and injuries will delay learning. But now, Guran no longer needs to take the college entrance examination as his goal. In this life, Guran will tell his parents upright that playing football is not only entertainment, but also a star career. Although he is a reborn person and has a system, it is not something that can be achieved in a day or two to become a real football superstar. In Guran's current situation, I'm afraid that only the strong attribute can barely pass, and other attributes need to be improved. Even if Guran has the knowledge, experience, and awareness of playing football in his previous life, it is far from enough. Guran has also thought about going directly to a professional club for a trial, but with his current strength, it is impossible to be signed. You must take steady steps and start from scratch. Fortunately, youth is the greatest asset. It's not too late to start now. Guran's small goal is to join the Hampton private school Bucks Steelhorns team first, and then step by step onto a broader football stage. Of course, the school team recruitment requirements of Hampton private school are not low. The players of the school team are basically students who have played football since childhood, or have received systematic youth training. The normal process of joining the school team is very complicated. First, you need to submit an application, then submit a physical examination report from a regular hospital, and then participate in the physical fitness test, skill test, and confrontation test organized by the school team coach. After passing the test, you will have to undergo a more professional athlete physical examination. After passing the professional physical examination again, you can only be a peripheral player, responsible for pouring water, picking up balls, and cleaning the locker room. At least 1 month of this will be required before you are qualified to train with the official team members. During this period, you will be called and yelled by the official team members, teased and bullied in various ways. Even if you can train with the official team members, you may not get the opportunity to play. Many students who choose football classes are just getting credits and improving their A-level grades. But Guran didn't want to join the school team in such an orderly manner, and it was not for the sake of getting credits. In Guran's memory of his previous life, the school team suffered a heavy blow a few days before the group stage. That is, at this time, a core player temporarily withdrew from the team and transferred to another school. When the coach submitted the game list, all the tactical arrangements of the school team were completely disrupted, and eventually this ambitious school team failed to qualify even for the group stage. Moreover, it lost all 4 rounds and did not get a single point. With a score of 0 eggs, it ranked last among the 32 participating teams. That also became the biggest shame of Southampton private school since its establishment. After that, the Bucks Steelhorns team was in a slump and was even called the Buckstan team. But for Guran, this was a good opportunity to join the school team in one step. As long as a duel with the rust strips can arouse the interest of the school team's head coach, then the opportunity to officially start his football career has come. Guran put his hands in his pockets and stepped on the natural grass of the training ground with his head held high. The long lost smell of grass. Guran couldn't help but take a deep breath, feeling the blood in his veins surging. Rusty, who was jogging to warm up, saw Guran from a distance and ran over with a sneer on his face. "Hey, Chinese boy, you really dare to come? You have guts." If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 22 I Can Play, Left Back. Guran smiled calmly. "Rust, aren't you going to teach me what real football is? When do we start?" Rust said proudly. "Why are you in such a hurry? Of course not now. Can't you see we are in a training session? We are going to participate in the group stage of the National Talent Cup this Wednesday. Just wait, I will teach you after the training session." Guran looked around and didn't find the coach present. "Okay, I have plenty of time anyway, you should go and train hard." After saying that, Guran turned around and found a seat next to the field and sat down. Seeing Guran's cool look, Rust's face suddenly became very unhappy. But this was a training session. Rust did not dare to get angry and could only run back to the training team and practice 2v3 circle grabbing with his teammates. Guran noticed that Rust's circle grabbing action was very fierce, basically relying on hand pushing and shoulder collision to complete the pressing. Such players are actually very popular in low-level leagues and non-professional leagues, where the penalty standards are not strict. No skills or awareness are needed, just pure strength to crush the opponent. However, it is difficult for a player like Rusty to survive in a high-level league. In a high-level league, being strong is not enough. If someone tricks you into committing a foul during a defensive confrontation, it is very likely that the entire team will be in a desperate situation. Of course, having said that, you have to gain a foothold in low-level competitions first. Otherwise, how can you go to a high-level league? The correct way is to constantly adjust and adapt according to the actual situation. There is no need to increase the strength attribute value to 100 points in one go, but to handle it flexibly according to the situation. When Guran was thinking, a bald old man with a beer belly rushed into the football field angrily. Fuck. As soon as Coach Carter entered the court, he angrily threw the tactical board in his hand and cursed, "Arlen, this bastard. What an ungrateful bastard. He actually transferred to Westminster School when we are about to start the group stage. The game will be the day after tomorrow. Today is the deadline for the big list. Where can I find a left back that suits our tactical system? Can one fall from the sky for me? Fuck. Carter's sharp curses were mixed with all kinds of blocked words that Guran had never heard of. Guran smiled in his heart. This is much more interesting than listening to French class. The school team players who were working hard in training were all stunned by Westminster School, which was their mortal enemy of Southampton Private School. In the history of the two teams, Westminster School has often defeated Southampton Private School. And Arlen is the best player in Southampton Private School. He can confront, defend, break through, make long passes, and can also shoot long shots himself. Arlen is a high school version of the great sage Gareth Bale, a player who is very likely to be selected by a professional club. And the entire Bucks Steelhorns team's wing offensive tactics and strategies are designed around Arlen, the core of the wing. All the players on the school team know that Arlen is the direct disciple of Coach Carter and the apple of Coach Carter's eye. Now, when Carter and his teammates need him the most, Arlen betrayed them and went to the mortal enemy Westminster School. Coach Carter didn't kill anyone, which is already quite rational. What are you guys doing here? Are you making fun of an old man like me? Or do you think that you can help me get revenge by sticking in the same place? Or do you know that you are all fucking useless and it doesn't matter whether you practice or not? Carter spit out saliva. Guran, who was sitting not far away, could feel the fierce anger. The players on the court didn't dare to breathe and continued to train honestly. These bad boys that all the teachers and students in the school avoid are all obedient little chickens in front of Coach Carter. Light feeling 90 points of negative emotions from Lama Carter. The system bubble is generating. Oh? Guran couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. He hasn't done anything yet, but he's already got a bubble for free. It's a pity that the distance from the scolded school team players is more than 5 meters. Otherwise, this wave can complete the daily pickup limit. At this time, a full blue bubble appeared at Coach Carter's feet. Coach Carter looks like a serious coach, right? Guran stood up, walked to Coach Carter calmly, and touched the blue bubble with his toes. The blue bubble then exploded brilliantly, turning into a dazzling ray of light, which merged into Guran's body. Like the host has picked up a skill from the filled bubbles. Trash talk +1, today's pickup progress is 2/10. Guran, warm reminder, when you use the trash talk skill, the opponent's mind will be hit hard, causing negative emotions to increase, and when the opponent uses trash talk on you, you will not be affected by it. This skill can't be said to be useless, but I always feel that it doesn't fit my handsome and steady personality. Guran secretly complained in his heart. Are you polite? Coach Carter stared at Guran with an expression that he wanted to eat him. Guran realized that he had been face to face with Coach Carter in order to pick up the bubbles. Gu then took a step back and said calmly, I finally met the legendary Coach Carter. Please forgive me for being a little excited just now. Hello, Coach Carter, I'm an international student of our school. My name is Guran. I'm from China and I want to join the school team. Carter's sharp eyes like a hawk swept over Guran and said with disdain, Chinese? Want to join my school team? Are you not having a fever? Before I start to scold you, quickly get your feet off my grass. Guran was neither humble nor arrogant. He straightened his back and looked directly into Coach Carter's aggressive eyes with a firm gaze. Coach, I'm not kidding. I really want to play football. I'm sure I'm the person you need. Please give me a chance and let me prove it to you. Carter couldn't help but frown. Ordinary students would have been scared away by his scolding, and even worse, they would not be able to stand the pressure and wipe tears. However, the Chinese international student in front of him was different. He was not afraid of him at all. His black eyes were full of the maturity and calmness of an adult who had experienced big scenes. This guy is either really thick-skinned or really has some skills. Carter's mouth was pursed into a gloomy flatline. After thinking for a while, Carter frowned and waved his hand. You are courageous, but our school team is not short of people now, and our school team will participate in the national competition soon, so we don't have time to recruit new members. If you are really interested, you can submit your application after our competition. Guran interrupted Carter confidently. Coach, I can play left back. Chapter 23. Is this God's arrangement? Hearing Guran's words, Coach Carter's pupils shrank. Just now, he was praying loudly, hoping that God would give him a left back. Isn't this too coincidental? Is this God's arrangement? Bullshit. How can it be so coincidental? Coach Carter sneered, and then looked at Guran with a sharp gaze. Boy, if I guess correctly, you said this because you want to join the school team, right? Haha, this kind of trick is useless in my eyes. So, before I lose my temper with you, you better leave quickly. Wow, I was actually seen through. This coach is really good, but I can't admit it. If I admit it, then there will be no hope for me to join the school team. Guran stabilized his mentality, showed his realistic acting skills, and said with a firm expression, no, coach, I can really play left back. If you don't believe me, you can test me. In his previous life, Guran played as a forward in the world team, and his left foot was his weak foot, and he had never played left back. However, he often plays the position of the forward who cuts inside with his foot in the world team, which is the position that Ronaldo played in the early days, the left forward. There are many super strikers in the football world who are essentially forwards who cut inside with their foot, such as the early Ronaldo, Messi, Neymar, Robin, Henry, etc. Among them, Messi is particularly worth mentioning. Messi is a right-sided forward, and his left foot can be said to be a golden left foot. After Messi gets the ball on the court, he likes to dribble the ball horizontally from the right front court, which is his reverse foot area, to the front of the penalty area, and then wait for an opportunity to kick the ball. Messi's method can no longer be considered as a reverse foot cut inside, but a reverse foot cross cut. This cross-cut route, as well as Messi's own dribbling and breakthrough abilities, always make the opponent's defenders unable to defend, so Messi's reverse foot cross-cut is also called the Messi corridor. With Guran's experience as a reverse foot forward in his previous life and his familiarity with the left side of the court, it is not pure nonsense for him to say that he can play as a left back. Of course, being able to play is one thing, and whether you can play well is another. What the school team lacks now is not a striker, but a left back. If Guran said that he was a striker, then Coach Carter would definitely not be interested. And it is not impossible to join the team as a left back and then slowly play back to the front line. Just like the great Sage Bale who came out of the Southampton team, Bale also debuted as a left back until he went to Tottenham. He was transformed into a striker, and he is one of the top strikers of this era. And the head coach Boas, who transformed Bale into a striker, also boasted about this matter to everyone. In short, Guran's strategy is to join the school team first. As long as he joins the school team and patiently gets everything for free for a few days, he will have everything. Seeing Guran's firm expression, Coach Carter couldn't help but hesitate for a moment. Okay, Chinese boy, I have to admit that I really need a qualified left back now. Listen carefully, I need not only a left back, I need a qualified left back. I don't expect you to reach Arlen's level at all, but if you can prove that you are a qualified left back, I can consider making an exception and letting you join my team. Guran breathed a sigh of relief and said with a calm expression, "Thank you, coach." Coach Carter said coldly, "Don't be in a hurry to thank me, Chinese boy. Our school team is a high school football team ranked among the best in the UK. We defeated more than a dozen high school teams in the Southern Division in the preliminaries, and only then did we get the ticket to the top 32 of the national group stage. Therefore, our school team is not just anyone who can get in. Our admission assessment is very strict and comprehensive." Guran said solemnly, "I understand, coach. I respect the achievements of the Bucks Steelhorns team, and I also know that the Bucks Steelhorns team is very strong among high schools across the country. This is an achievement made under your leadership. The career in the previous life was not for nothing. This is the art of workplace language, a compulsory course in the University of Society. How can the British who have little knowledge in this area withstand this art?" Coach Carter's serious old face suddenly relaxed a little. His disciples are all rusty, with high-end computer cases and colorful lights, but the CPU and graphics cards inside are all 286 level. How can this Chinese kid speak so nicely? And what he said is so right. HMM. Coach Carter nodded to Guran with satisfaction. "Listen, our team assessment used to take at least 2 weeks, but now, the situation is special, so I will simplify this assessment and first test your confrontation as a defensive player. You can pick an opponent from my school team and have a one-on-one match." "Thank you, coach, for giving me this opportunity." Guran calmly pointed at Rusty, who was wrestling with his teammates in the distance. "I chose Rusty as my opponent because we had an agreement to have a one-on-one match before. Choosing Rusty as an opponent is not only to fulfill the agreement, but Guran also has deeper considerations. Rusty's strong attribute is indeed very high, and Rusty's defensive skills such as close pressing, collision, interception, and tackling are also good in high school amateur competitions. However, Rusty's starting, dribbling, speed, and turning are all weak points, and it can even be said that he failed. Since Guran has to accept a one-on-one confrontation test as a defensive side, then Rusty is chosen, and it is Rusty who will initiate the attack. Rusty is a main defender, and his strength is defense, not offense. If Rusty is allowed to attack, it will be difficult for him to show his advantages in interception, steals, and positioning. The only advantage that Rusty can show is collision. Guran now has the skill of reasonable collision, and his strong attribute is also qualified. In addition, with his experience of playing street football in his previous life, he is not afraid of Rusty's collision. If Guran had chosen other forwards or midfielders on the school team, then with Guran's current defensive ability, he would definitely be embarrassed in front of the coach. Therefore, choosing Rusty as an opponent is the smartest way. "You choose Rusty? Are you sure?" Carter sneered. "Boy, I don't care about your private grudges. Even if you slept with his mother, it's none of my business, but I want to tell you that you picked a very dangerous opponent." Guran raised his mouth confidently. "Coach, I'm not afraid of danger. Besides, the more dangerous it is, the more interesting it is, isn't it? I'm sure I want to fight Rusty one-on-one." Carter's brows were knitted together, and his expression was a little worried. "You didn't really sleep with his mother, did you?" "Damn." Guran hurriedly said, No, this is absolutely not the case." "That's good," Coach Carter muttered in a low voice. "Then no one will die. Today is a little new year. I wish you all a happy little new year and good health. The plot has been laid out so much, and it's finally here. I'll test the water tomorrow, and I ask everyone to read more. I heard that the follow-up data is very important. Whether you can make it to the second round depends on whether the readers are strong enough. When I recommend it, I will post new chapters earlier and post 2 chapters at a time, so that readers don't have to wait. Thank you everyone, and I wish you all a happy holiday." Chapter 24. I almost forgot to put on my new football shoes. "Rusty, come here." Coach Carter's stern roar resounded throughout the training ground. Although it was Rusty who was called, every player in the training ground was trembling. "Coach, here I come." Rusty responded quickly and ran over. Before Coach Carter could speak, Rusty took the initiative to say, Coach, no matter what you just heard from this Chinese kid, I can explain it. I really wanted to do something to this Chinese kid before, but I didn't do it in the end, because I'm a rational person. I know that this is a critical moment for our school team, and I also know how important I, the main central defender, am to the school team, so no matter how angry I am, I didn't fight. Guran looked at Rusty quietly. Coach Carter frowned and shouted, "Who the hell asked you that? Wait, what? You almost got into a fight?" Rusty was stunned and looked at Guran in surprise. "You're not reporting me." Guran shrugged calmly. "I won't report. We can solve the problem between us ourselves." The expression on Rusty's face was a little strange, but he quickly returned to his original arrogance. "Humph, don't think that I think you're good, just because you didn't report. What the hell? Why does it feel like Rusty is a little arrogant?" Guran almost couldn't help laughing out loud. Coach Carter yelled angrily, "Enough. I don't have time to listen to your love-hate relationship here. Rusty, listen to me. This Chinese kid wants to join our school team." "What?" Rusty's eyes suddenly widened like cowbells, and he yelled angrily, "I don't agree." Carter kicked Rusty on the butt. "Do you fucking think this is a wedding robbery in the church? And you don't agree?" Rusty covered his butt. "I mean, Coach, you don't have to agree." Carter said coldly, "Whether I agree or not, that's up to me. Now this Chinese kid specifically asks for a one-on-one confrontational test with you, the main central defender." Ha ha ha. Rusty was immediately ecstatic. "Chinese kid, you are really courting death. Do you know what my nickname is?" Guran was stunned by what Rusty said. "Isn't Rusty your nickname?" Rusty smiled proudly. "How can a strong man have only one nickname? Rusty is a nickname given to me by others, but I also have a nickname that truly belongs to me, and that is Human Tank." "Guran, you are a chunabaku." The fat on Rusty's face trembled, and he stared at Guran with a rather oppressive look. "What do you think? Are you too scared to speak? You dare to fight me one-on-one? Look at your thin arms and legs. I can crush you into slag with just a collision." Such trash talk naturally had no effect on Guran, and Guran even wanted to laugh. "There is only one place on my body that is thicker than you." Rusty was stunned. With his 286 CPU, he thought for a long time, but couldn't figure out where Guran was talking about. "Enough." Carter waved his hand. "In this confrontational test, Rusty will win if you carry the ball from the center circle to the penalty area line. Chinese boy, your task is to defend and intercept Rusty, and don't let him enter the penalty area. If you can grab the ball and kick it across the center line, you win. Do you to understand?" Guran and Rusty nodded at the same time. "I understand. The rules of this confrontational test are very simple, but the simpler the rules, the more they test your true ability." Coach Carter said to Rusty again, "Rusty, don't embarrass the Milwaukee Bucks. If you lose, you'll have to do 100 frog jumps." Rusty immediately puffed out his chest and knocked it. "Coach, don't worry. How could I, a human tank, lose?" Carter said in a deep voice. "Okay, I'll give you 5 minutes to prepare." After that, Carter picked up the scattered tactical board on the ground, sat on a chair on the sidelines, and studied it seriously. "Can this thing still stick to Olin on the dog?" Rusty sneered at Guran. "I didn't expect that you actually wanted to join the school team. Are you here to cause trouble on purpose?" Guran smiled steadily. "No, I really want to join the school team." Rusty grinned and said, "Great, because I will let you know right away that you don't deserve it. The day before yesterday you said you had never played football before, and today you want to join the school team? Do you think we can join the Bucks Steel Horns whenever you want? Look at you, with thin arms and legs. You will fall apart if I hit you. And your shoes. Haha, are you still wearing casual shoes? Do you think this is playing golf? With these shoes, I can crush your foot bones with one kick. When the time comes, you must not cry." Guran smiled and said, "Thank you for reminding me. If you hadn't said it, I almost forgot to put on my new football shoes." As he said that, Guran calmly put down his sports backpack and took out a brand new Messi exclusive football shoe from the bag. This light gold football shoe is a perfect match for natural grass. When he saw this pair of shoes, the muscles on Rusty's face froze, and his two big eyes were illuminated by the Messi exclusive football shoes. "Isn't this the football shoe that Rusty has always dreamed of?" Rusty licked his lips. Could this pair of shoes be the extremely expensive Messi exclusive F10TRXFG football shoes? Duran looked calm. Expensive? Not bad. Only £1,999. What did you say? Only? The fat on Rusty's face trembled. Although Southampton High School is a private school, it is not an aristocratic high school like King's College, Eton College, and Westminster School, so £1,999 is definitely not a small amount of money for a student like Rusty. Rusty originally planned to work part-time in his father's car wash shop for a summer vacation after the National Cup competition, and then he could save enough money to buy this pair of sneakers. But before he started saving money, Duran had already succeeded. No, he got his feet. Rusty looked at the football shoes in Duran's hand eagerly. Can I touch them? Duran smiled politely. Of course not. Rusty immediately clenched his fists and gritted his teeth. Fuck. You think I'm precious? This must be a fake. Boy, I must destroy you today. After saying that, Rusty turned around angrily and walked to the midfield to prepare for the game. Light feeling 52 points of negative emotions from Christic. The system bubble is generating a fairly full white bubble formed at the position where Rusty just stood. Ugh. Duran put on his shin guards, socks, and sneakers while touching the white bubble calmly. The white bubble exploded brilliantly, turning into a ray of light and merging into Duran's body. Like the host picked up the results from the ordinary bubble. Special strength training plus 10 hours. Today's picking progress 3/10. Cool. Duran took a deep breath and immediately felt that his whole body was filled with brand new strength. This is all the result of Rusty's sweaty and exhausted training. Warm reminder, the host has collected 100 hours of special training results and now has one corresponding talent point. The training results in football can only correspond to football attributes and cannot be added to performance and other skills. However, the direct talent points obtained by robbing Sophie can be added to any skills and attributes. Duran briefly considered it and decided not to add this talent point for the time being. 60 points of strength should be enough in the high school amateur league. Of course, if you find it difficult to fight against Rusty, you can add points temporarily at that time. Anyway, adding points is just a thought, without any other effects. Moreover, adding points temporarily may have unexpected effects. Duran put on his socks and sneakers neatly, did a simple warm-up exercise, and then trotted into the field. Rusty stepped on the football with an arrogant expression, stood in the middle circle with his arms folded in front of his chest. The other school team players also stopped training and surrounded the middle circle to watch the excitement. Coach Carter put down the broken tactical board and looked at his watch. You two, when you're ready, we can start. Chapter 25. The long-lost feeling of dopamine secretion is back. Rust, teach that ignorant Chinese kid a lesson. Rust, I'm betting a week's food money on you to win. Don't screw me over. Rust, your chance to get revenge has come. The school team members nearby cheered for Rust. Rust said proudly, don't worry, I won't lose this time. As long as I beat this Chinese kid today, I'll confess to Sophie's best friend Susanna after school, and it will definitely work. Ha ha ha. Duran couldn't help laughing secretly. What kind of elementary school logic is this? Whether you can win a one-on-one match has nothing to do with confessing to Susanna? What about my metaphysics? Rusty borrowed with a heavy breath. Hey, that Chinese boy, are you ready? If you are ready, tell me. Don't say I didn't give you time to prepare. Duran moved his ankles and took a deep breath of the natural grass. I'm ready as much as I can be. Okay, I'm starting. Feel the crushing feeling of a human tank. Rusty borrowed and ran with the ball from the center circle. To be honest, he started very slowly, and his speed was not fast, but with his height of 1.88 meters and weight of 93 kilograms, he was really intimidating when he ran. Duran, who had experience in baseball, could easily predict Rusty Barr's route of advancement. Rusty Barr had no intention of disguising or changing the line, just pushing straight from the middle. This is completely without skills, relying purely on physical collision. This rough style of play is also one of the characteristics of British football. At the beginning, British football and rugby were originally one family, sharing a set of game rules. It was not until the Masonic Tavern meeting in 1863 that football and rugby were officially separated. However, the style of play of British amateur football teams is still as tough as rugby. Facing the straight line collision of Rusty, Guran was not afraid at all and went straight to face him. This is exactly the confrontation that head coach Carter wanted to see. If you want to play football in the UK, it is difficult to be favoured if you cannot integrate into this rough culture. Seeing Guran rushing up like this, Rusty was overjoyed and then half turned to protect the ball and at the same time used his strong shoulder to hit Guran. This move seems simple, but it is actually very practical. As long as Guran chooses to dodge, then Rusty will immediately shake off Guran and dribble in the opposite direction. And if Guran does not choose to dodge, then hahaha. In Rusty's opinion, with Guran's seemingly thin body, he would definitely not dare to collide with him. Not only Rusty thought so, but other players, and even Coach Carter, who was sitting in his seat with his mouth pursed, thought so. However, something that shocked everyone happened. Guran accelerated and hit Rusty without any hesitation, and there was no intention of slowing down or changing lanes. Looking for death, Rusty Barr screamed, and his sturdy arms turned into elbow strikes. In the official arena, this is an absolute foul. However, in this kind of test occasion, no one will care. At the moment when Rusty Barr elbowed, Guran first stuck in position with one foot, and at the same time slightly lowered his center of gravity, avoiding Rusty Barr's elbow strike, and used his shoulder to hit Rusty Barr's exposed ribs. Bang! The two of them collided heavily, and then bounced off. Rusty Barr was completely unprepared, and was directly pushed 5 steps away by Guran. And Guran was also bounced 3 steps away by the impact of Rusty Barr. This guy is so damn strong, Guran secretly exclaimed in his heart. Guran's collision just now not only had the skill bonus of reasonable collision +1, but also the bonus of 60 points of strength value, the inertia bonus of high speed start, and the bonus of his experience of playing baseball in his previous life. Moreover, in terms of the parts that touched each other, Rusty Barr was more disadvantaged. More importantly, Rusty Strip collided with him, while completely underestimating his opponent. He only used 70% to 80% of his strength at most. But Guran just gave it his all. Even with such an all-out effort, he only knocked Rusty Strip back 2 more steps. The level of football training for British youth is really not exaggerated. But this kind of tit-for-tat confrontation is really exciting. Guran felt that the blood in his body was burning. While Rusty Strip was still confused, Guran quickly stabilized his body balance, caught up with the football that was still rolling towards the penalty area, and kicked the ball back to the midfield with a big foot. Win. Guran sighed happily. The long-lost feeling of dopamine secretion is back. The school team players on the scene all exclaimed in disbelief. Who would have thought that this one-on-one duel would have such a result? Everyone thought that the Chinese guy would use the close defense technique to stick to Rusty, forcing Rusty to slow down, and then steal the ball or tackle the ball when he saw the loopholes in Rusty's dribbling. However, the Chinese guy did not defend closely at all, nor did he use the conventional kick to steal the ball or tackle the ball. Instead, he directly confronted Rusty with his body. This is simply a face-to-face attack. Rusty is 1.88 meters tall and weighs 93 kilograms. And what about the Chinese boy? It is estimated that he is about 1.8 meters tall and weighs no more than 75 kilograms. In a one-on-one confrontation, Rusty's body was eaten alive by the opponent. What the hell is going on? The players on the school team started cursing. Fuck. Rusty, what the hell are you doing? Damn it, I really can't trust you. You always fail at the critical moment. You're just a rusty spring. Rusty, are you acting like a fool? Just to cheat your dad out of a week's food expenses? Rusty, don't confess your love to Susanna. There's no way a confession will succeed. Rusty, since you love to act so much, why do you still play football? Wouldn't it be nice to act in a romantic action movie? Fuck. Shut the fuck up. Rusty rubbed his ribs and roared with a red face. What happened just now doesn't count. I still have a chance to confess my love to Susanna. Light feeling 58 points of negative emotion from Christic. The system bubble is generating an ordinary white bubble formed under Rusty's feet. Guran frowned. Here it comes. Guran walked to the front of Rusty, took the opportunity to touch the white bubble with his toes, and said seriously, Rusty, thank you. So this is real football. Fuck Rust, his nose was about to be crooked. The white bubble burst brilliantly under Guran's touch, turning into a dazzling light thread, and merged into Guran's body. Like the host picked up the results from the ordinary bubbles. Physical training plus 10 hours. Today's picking progress 4/10. Guran suddenly felt a sense of relief all over his body. The physical energy that was lost in the head-on collision just now was also restored a little because of the increase in training results. This is all the result of Rusty's sweaty and exhausted training. Saying thank you to others is also what he should do. Guran smiled secretly in his heart. Rusty said angrily, "What happened just now doesn't count. Chinese boy, don't be so proud. I was careless just now. I didn't use my full strength at all. Coach, I beg to give me another chance. If I lose again, I will do 200, no, 300 frog jumps." Rusty even bid for himself. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.